Wow.
And I also was escorted out of a building like this one time. Robert Saleh, the head coach of the New York Jets. The ex, former head coach of the New York Jets was unceremoniously fired this morning.
I thought he was kind of highly regarded.
Well,
maybe not to the quarterback.
Maybe not to the quarterback. Because he's a defensive coach. I think he comes from that Shanahan tree. Right? He's one of these guys who he had a top defense in the time that he's been in New York. But they said that he was escorted out by building security. Would not let him go and say anything to the team.
Dang.
That Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, walked into his office this morning. He said he was surprised to see Woody walk in and to give him his pink slip this morning. I was fired from a job, and they had security walk me out of the building. Funny story about that. When I get done in the office with this said boss of the place that I was let go.
It wasn't Jason Garrett, was it?
No. I gracefully walked out of there, too. But we get done with this meeting, and as I'm being fired, and I walk out, like I open the door, and there's a security guard standing there. And it's like your typical building security guard. It's not anyone that you fear, right? It's the old guy who's retired, who's on a fixed income, who's working at the building for a little extra money in his pocket. You know what I'm saying? And maybe to pay for his little, he might have a little young thing that he got to pay a little, you know what I'm saying? A little he might go by the trailer parks. You need a little part-time job to stop by the trailer parks to get that chicken before you head over there. And I walk out the office, and the security guy is standing there, and he's like, come on, I'm gonna escort you. And I'm looking at him. I look back at the guy that just fired me, and I said, what is he going to do?
You said that to the guy?
Yeah. And he's like, come on, man. Come on, man. And fast forward, I saw him, like, after I got fired, I saw him, like, maybe 2 or 3 years later in a grocery store.
Right.
And I'm getting some...
the security guy or
the security guy
who fired you?
No, the guy that hired me, trust me, whenever I'm in the building, he hides. And so the security guard, I'm at the grocery store getting some lunch meat. And he walks up to me and he says, son, I don't know, you don't remember me. He said, I was the security guard that had to walk you out the building. And we laughed about it. He said, I'm going to be honest with you. He said, I'm so glad you walked out peacefully. He said, because when you opened the door, I looked up at you and I thought to myself, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do with this young boy if he decided to jump on me. And I said, nah, man, I'm not like that. But yeah, Robert Saleh's fired.
Now, do you know what is Joe? Coffee. And who is Joe? Oh, Black Joe. That's why Starbucks is a billionaire company. I gotta be putting some of that black stuff in. I can't get started. If somebody were to say to Joe Scarborough, you're talking about taking in old Black Joe.
Starbucks giving a message to some of their corporate workers. They're saying, you better get back to the office or you might be fired.
They're saying you're going to take that morning train or you're going to be in serious trouble. Starbucks issuing an ultimatum to its remote workers saying, yeah, you're going to be back in the office at least 3 days a week. We're not talking about baristas here. We're talking about the corporate crowd. And according to a memo seen by Bloomberg, there's some teeth to this. Starbucks is also telling its workers, if you're not back in the office 3 days a week, you could be fired. Now, to be sure, Starbucks isn't alone in this. There's a lot of big employers in corporate America right now that want to see people filling cubicles again. Dell Technologies is one of them. Most of Wall Street is insisting that their folks return to work. So this is going around. And in fact, Fortune is reporting that this is a blessing in disguise for a number of large employers who would like to see their payrolls reduced a little bit. Well, remote workers who don't want to come back to work are saying adios, and it turns out some employers are saying, yeah, that's not a big problem. The issue that I'm having with this, though, related to Starbucks, is the fact that it's not quite an even playing field when we talk about the rank-and-file crowd versus the boss. Now, in this case, we're talking about the new CEO, Brian Niccol, and he lives right down here in Newport Beach. But every day he commutes to the Seattle headquarters via a luxury corporate jet. That's a 1,000-mile commute. Okay, life's good if you can be the CEO, but this is another example of a company that's more than happy to accommodate the living needs of its boss, but when it comes to the subordinates, forget about it. They have to make their own way in the world. And this just raises questions about leading by example. Another issue that comes up that's right along these same lines is the fact that every CEO of an S&P 500 company, when they retire, can look forward to a fat pension to get them through the hardship of their later years, even though they've been pulling down millions of dollars every year on the job. But there isn't a single subordinate below those people pulling down pensions, and that's another example of not leading by example, and I'm a firm believer in that. If you want to be a good leader, you set the tone, you set the example, you show others what a good worker is. These guys aren't doing that.
He's literally going to work every day.
He is.
Well, on the other hand, he's in a corporate jet.
I was thinking your argument was going to go pandemic, baristas showing up every day, serving people face to face, having to deal with the anxiety of that.
And that's hard work.
Meanwhile, the people in the office got to stay home.
And there is that element to it, but obviously it's Starbucks. You can't really
can't
do
do it
that
from
by a
home.
remote. You know, you want a latte? Yeah, all right, reach for the lever. Yeah, that's not going to work at all. But simply put, I mean, CEOs, they've got big, important jobs, and they get a lot of money for that. And at the same time, they've got a responsibility to motivate and show and lead by example. And I just don't see that happening enough.
What's the reasoning behind it? Why do they want people back in office?
Oh, because it's better to control them, quite simply. It's a control thing. There's no question about that. That they are more comfortable managing when they can wander around and find people where they want to find them, as opposed to...
Look over your shoulder.
Right, as opposed to being at home where they have to kind of trust you to get your work done. And even though the work is getting done, they're not comfortable with that.
I just worry about the people who maybe started life elsewhere during the pandemic, or like, well, we're not going to go back full time, so I'm going to put my kids in this school district. And they're saying, hey, no, you got to get back.
Yep.
And there's no corporate jet to pick you up.
No, what the heck?
The man knot, race, class, genre, and the dilemmas of black manhood.
The absolute number of black men enrolled at historically black colleges and universities is the lowest it's been since 1976. That's according to recent analysis from the American Institute for Boys and Men, which crunched data from the Department of Education. In fact, black men now currently account for only 26% of the students at HBCUs. Back in 1976, that figure was 38%. Calvin Hadley is invested in closing this gap. He's assistant provost for academic partnerships and student engagement at Howard University, and he is here in the studio with me now. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start by talking about Howard, which of course is one of the foremost HBCUs in this country, a long, long list that I cannot recite of incredible alumni, including Vice President Kamala Harris. Let's start there. Are you seeing this decline among black male students where you are there at Howard, just down the road from us?
I am. I'm a Howard alum, and so I remember as a student, the numbers were also pretty stark at that time. I think we were around 33 to 34% when I was a student between 2004 and 2008. Now, as you announced in your introduction, Howard University is around 25% male total, and I think a recent statistic said around 19% black male. And so that is felt on campus. That is felt, I think, in our social clubs. It's felt on the yard. And I think many of our male students have commented that in some of their classes, they're the only male in their class.
So I will just say I did not attend an HBCU. I attended a PWI, a predominantly white institution, but I have so many friends and family members who attended HBCUs. They talk to me about what that experience has meant to them, not just while they're on campus, but when they go out into their professional lives. They stay connected to the HBCU experience. So I just want to ask you, when there are fewer black men on campus, what does that mean? What do we lose when those black men are not as robust a presence on campuses like yours?
By the time students actually come to college, we're dealing with the males that have actually transcended what we call the belief gap. This gap in between what students can actually achieve and what their professors, teachers, counselors believe they can achieve. For black males, that gap is the largest. When they get into the campus, the campus experiences is significantly impacted by the imbalance, right? At every educational institution, we want a diversity of experience. And so when you don't have as many males in a classroom, that diversity of experience is significantly impacted. I think we're dealing with some really unique statistics right now. Black males, as we will dive deeper into this in a moment, are graduating at a much lower rate than black females.
And that's across all colleges.
Across all colleges, not just HBCUs.
Right.
This is not an HBCU problem. This is not a PWI problem. This is an American education problem.
The study that we've been talking about, it notes that since 2010, as you point out, black male enrollment has gone down across all colleges. And it also points out that HBCU enrollment has also decreased on the whole, but the decline of black male enrollment at HBCUs outpaces those trends, if only slightly. Can you just explain to me how you understand that gap?
So I want to take a small step back. There are a number of really important things that happened between 2012 and 2022. One of those was the election of President Donald Trump. Another was the murder of George Floyd. I think when those things happen in the United States of America, the HBCU experience can now become a much more attractive proposition. You notice a significant increase in those male applications. While we received 9,700 male applications in 2022-23, we received upwards of 30,000 female applications. Black women are ripping it up. All the statistics show from high school to college graduation that the black woman, the black female is successful today, and the trajectory is going straight up. Unfortunately, when you look at the black male, the exact opposite is the case. What we now will have imbalance in the community that has a significant impact on our ability to create whole families. I think on the ability for us to ensure that our generations after us have additional success and to have additional mobility.
I want to end on this. You are a product of Howard University. As you point out, you now work for the university and you're raising 2 young black boys. What's your pitch for why a young black man who might be hearing our conversation in 2024 should choose to attend an HBCU? Why should they?
You attend an HBCU for an education and not a degree. And as an assistant provost, that's not a popular thing to say. The education that you receive in an HBCU transcends the classroom experience. The education exists in between the lines of the pages. HBCUs are created to instill you with the belief that you can be even larger than you can dream, with the sense that I am enough. I can be successful academically, but my world is not simply academics. I can be enough and I can contribute to this society in this space. And so when I'm talking to that young man in 2024, come because we need you, come because you're important, come because without you, our community is hurt.
Calvin Hadley, Assistant Provost at Howard University. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's the Puerto Ricans. If it wasn't for them damn Puerto Ricans, black people would be on Easy Street. Well, that Mexican took my job. He ain't took your job. He was given the job. Given the job by who? The people who give out jobs. Well, who are they? Duh. Have you ever had a job? Who gave it to you? Right, Come on. Stop lying to yourself. That's what I say to all the black people throughout the world. From Ghana to,
Texas talks big and tough on immigration. In 2021, Republican Governor Greg Abbott announced Operation Lone Star, which sent the Texas National Guard and Texas Department of Public Safety to the southern border. The next year, Texas started busing migrants out of state. In 2023, lawmakers passed a bill making illegal immigration a violation of state law. And Abbott added razor wire on the border and floating barriers in the Rio Grande. And this year, the governor ordered hospitals to ask patients their immigration status, ostensibly to collect information on costs. And yet, reports Jack Herrera in Texas Monthly, the market for undocumented workers in Texas and across America is thriving. His latest piece is titled "The Border Crisis Won't Be Solved at the Border," and he joins us now. Jack Herrera, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
So it's estimated nearly a quarter of all construction laborers nationwide are undocumented. You take a hard look at the Texas construction industry, which is booming. How reliant are Texas builders on undocumented workers? And, how are they able to find them when the state is so active in trying to stop and to penalize people who come into the U.S. illegally?
Yeah, well, I think when I first started visiting construction sites, it was obvious that a significant number of construction workers in Texas were undocumented. And we have data from nationwide showing it's at least a fourth of workers, but it seems much higher in Texas. A survey conducted about 10 years ago by Workers Defense Project visited sites in cities like Dallas and Houston and El Paso, surveyed workers, asked them about their legal status, and more than half said they were undocumented. Texas, the legislature, and Governor Abbott have put up razor wire and barriers all along the Rio Grande, but time and time again, year after year, they have not put up any barriers between workers and the companies trying to hire them.
So they're getting tough at the border, but in the interior, they're kind of looking the other way?
That's exactly right. For instance, in the last legislative session, you see a whole raft of bills make it to Abbott's desk, and he signs off on SB 4, which might even enable Texas to force people to deport themselves by threatening them with prison time, and adds more resources towards patrolling and policing the border. But what's interesting are the bills that did not reach Abbott's desk. This year, you see a collection of bills, actually, that seek to implement E-Verify in the state. And this is a federal program that helps employers guarantee that their workers have legal status. You saw 2 attempts to mandate E-Verify, and both of them fail in the Republican-controlled state house. In some instances, Republicans voted against the bills in committee, and when they were taken to the floor, you never saw a vote. And what the reporting there was that there weren't enough Republican votes to pass it.
Jack, your story includes an outspoken, contrarian Texas construction CEO named Stan Merrick, who's sort of blown the whistle on the industry's reliance on undocumented workers and lobbies for immigration reform. What are some of the things that he's proposing as a solution?
It all basically comes down to an idea called tax and ID. If workers are here and they're already working, let's not solve a problem by creating another problem. Let's let them keep working, but they're going to get a tamper-proof ID, get in the system, and they're going to pay taxes and potentially back taxes. But as long as they're in the system, they're paying taxes, they can get, at the very least, temporary work status.
Jack, why does construction seem to be such a tough immigration nut to crack? I mean, E-Verify and taxes, those aren't impossible things. I mean, even if you exclude bad employers who just want to exploit cheaper than legal market labor.
I think the conventional wisdom is that employers are hiring them because these workers can be paid less and you don't have to offer them workman's comp or protections. And if anyone complains on the job, you can threaten to call ICE. But as our country's gotten richer over the last 20 years, and as blue-collar wages have fallen behind, the number of Americans going into the manual trades, carpentry, all the trades associated with construction, has plummeted. And so the only real way to staff these projects is to get immigrant workers. The problem is the legal immigration system can't keep up with demand. And so it's undocumented workers who are coming to fill that need. So what we're looking at is an economic system that expects them, relies on them, even recruits them for these jobs.
Immigration's been a huge issue in this presidential election. Kamala Harris says she wants to revive a bipartisan border security bill and try to find a pathway to citizenship for people already here without documents. Donald Trump has promised mass deportations. I mean, what does the situation in Texas tell you about those two very competing notions?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's an impulse of people, including among immigrants who are here with legal status, to say, hey, if you're going to come work a job, get in line, like don't cut the line. So I think that there is a conversation to be had about the fairness of undocumented workers working jobs. But however you feel about that situation, if it upsets you or not, Texas and states around the country don't have an alternative to this workforce. If you want to keep building houses in Austin and Dallas and Houston, if you want to keep trying to avoid the worst of the housing crisis that's affecting Texas and every other state, you need these workers. So it really comes down to this. You can have mass deportation or you can build new houses. That's really the trade-off here.
That's Jack Herrera. His piece, The Border Crisis Won't Be Solved at the Border, is in November's Texas Monthly. Jack, good to talk with you.
Great to be on. Thank you.
Why haven't you learned anything?
Barista, waitress, car washer, babysitter. Those are the kinds of second jobs Head Start teachers need to make ends meet. And many of the centers in this federally funded preschool program cannot hire enough staff to keep all their classrooms open, all because teacher pay rates are so low. NPR's Corey Turner has this report.
When I went to Michigan this month to speak with Head Start teachers up and down the state, I heard a lot of this.
Between rent, food, bills, car, gas, I'm making it. I'm just making it.
Savannah Klapek is 27 and in her first year as a lead Head Start teacher on Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Last year, she says, she also worked at a coffee shop. In nearby Munising, veteran teacher Burl Davis says at 63, she too works a second job.
Sometimes 2 second jobs. Well, I waitress at the golf course and at a steakhouse.
And in Grand Rapids, Walter Tyler has been working in Head Start longer than Klapek has been alive.
Sure, we get ready to go outside and get off some of that energy. Yeah, how you know?
The problem the Biden administration is trying to fix is that even after almost 4 decades in a Head Start classroom, Mr. Walter, as he's called, says he still makes about $20 an hour. Until recently, his second job was cleaning rental cars at the airport.
I was out there working with kids that I hadn't had in the Head Start. And they would say, Mr. Walton? I said, yeah, Mr. Walton. I'm like, wow. I sat at the table teaching you. Now I'm working side by side with you, cleaning cars.
Nearly 1 in 5 Head Start teachers quit last year, according to the Biden administration. And that's unlikely to change without a big pay raise. Because while Head Start's average salary is around $40,000, a preschool teacher based in a public school averages over $53,000.
We don't blame our staff for leaving.
Tommy Sheridan is with the National Head Start Association.
How many directors have come to me and said that they had staff coming into their office crying, saying, I don't want to leave Head Start, but I can make 20 grand more just by walking across the street or down the hall is obscene. Every corner of the country, we hear this constantly.
This staffing crisis really blew up after the pandemic.
It has been extremely difficult.
Madonna Princer runs the Head Start programs in Grand Rapids, and just last year, she says,
when we started in August, I needed 43 teaching staff. So we were talking, over 20 classrooms not being able to open.
Princer says she has nearly 1,000 children on her wait list, and she's not alone. A few years ago, the Biden administration tried and failed to get a wage hike through Congress, so now it's trying something different. It's created a rule giving Head Start teachers a pay bump of as much as $10,000 per person. Princer in Grand Rapids says she likes the idea,
but it has to come with the investment.
See, the new rule doesn't come with new money. So program directors like Princer are being told they have to pay for it by permanently closing the classrooms that they temporarily closed when they couldn't find enough staff. In other words, cut seats to raise wages. Back on the Upper Peninsula, I asked first-year lead teacher Savannah Klapek what it says in so many places that Head Start staff can make just as much money flipping burgers or waiting tables.
Why it's not a priority, I don't know. I think that there is a push right now to make it a priority, but it's a long ways away.
Not long after we spoke, Klapek resigned. Corey Turner, NPR News, Michigan.
Context of white supremacy. White people do not care about children. Maybe that's why the Head Start salaries are about the same as what you could make at McDonald's. Gus talking ignorant. Gus talking ignorant. Context of white supremacy. In for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information with non-white people victims of racism on what the global system of white supremacy racism is and how it works. Today's date, so-called Dia de los Muertos, Friday, November 1, 2024. So I have been told Gus T still on location in California. Thank God, no longer in Los Angeles. Eternally grateful to have survived my time in Southern California. Woo! It is about equal parts pleased to be in San Francisco and pleased to be out of, actually, to be really truthful, is probably a teaspoon more glad to be out of LA. Thankful to be in San Francisco. Jonestown Research Project rolling. here for Neutralizing Workplace Racism. Not on last week because I was at the film festival. Oh my God, what was I doing this time last week? Game 1 of the World Series. Yankees versus the Dodgers in LA. And it was so much going on last Friday in Los Angeles. I had already been in LA, I think, like 4 days at that point. But, oh man. I posted Carmageddon. I wish I had kept the LA Times physical copy for that day. That was the Carmageddon. They said, and with a C, not a K, with a C. Carmageddon. That, oh my God, like Armageddon. It's going to be death, mayhem, chaos, destruction. World Series Game 1. And Bron James playing Crypto Arena, and USC Trojans fight on O.J. Simpson's alma mater playing a football game on a Friday night. And I think the Clippers were playing at N2. That's how you know how lowly the Clippers are in Los Angeles. They just opened a brand new state-of-the-art arena. Most impressive thing in the NBA in terms of arenas and all this. Just amazing technology. Steve Ballmer, suspected racist. And that's like way down on the list of, oh yeah, the Clippers and blah, blah, blah. Man, I asked people who live in LA, like, based on the normal mayhem, traffic, gridlock of the city, what is today like in comparison to all the other normal days in Los Angeles? And some of the residents, they said, well, now it is wacky here generally, but man, I got up and looked at the freeway at 1 in the afternoon. It would normally be a little busy, but it was, wow, Carmageddon. It just got worse as the day went on. The day I flew out of Los Angeles, the Dodgers won the World Series, and they burned a bus to the ground. Looted stuff, man. Oh, I'm so glad to be out of LA. Anyway, that was all business. Neutralizing workplace racism. If folks have commentary to share on the job, the number 605-313-5164, the code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. We were not broadcasting last week since I was at the American Film Institute Festival in Hollywood specifically. We were literally under the Hollywood sign, literally. And on the boardwalk where they got the stars and all that. Wacky time. We'll have to do a broadcast. I'm still trying to decompress from all that was. Anyway, if you have commentary, built up, things that took place last week, Halloween holiday and all of that, election that's wrapping up next week, I know that's been ramping up. Let us know if you had to, jot down notes from last week, couldn't share, got them saved up for this week. Let us know. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let us know if you have commentary, workplace triumphs, difficulties, problems. We'll do our best to use counter-racist logic, help you try to process what's going on, solving problems without creating new problems, always the goal. before I'll get to the news clips, emails, see if folks, definitely for this program, Gus T on location in San Francisco. So definitely no lollygagging, wait till the last minute. If you don't have anything to share, no problem. We'll motivate, no wasting time and energy. If you do have things to share, get your hand up, *61. Now, I'll get to the audio clips as well, but very important, I think, for many folks, maybe not every day, some more than others, but for many folks who have a job, at some point, you may be required to do business travel, business trip of some sort for whatever reason. I've had to do that before for various jobs. In fact, it might be a training thing or, could be a variety of assignments. But you might have to pack a knapsack and, it might even be an overnight situation, sometimes. Business travel, there needs to be specific counter-racist codification for business travel. Big part of that entails do as much research in advance as you can. We talked about certainly being sober before. We just had a person talk about the roommate situation where he was rooming with a white man who got intoxicated and went out partying, came back bloodied and drunk and hopped in bed with him nude. I mean, it has to be rules for business trips. You are on the road traveling for your job. This business travel, do as much research in advance as you can. That I cannot say enough. I am not a baseball fan. I don't, watch the Dodgers, anything of that nature. But wow, I think about maybe 10 days or so prior to, okay, it looks like for real going to LA, because that wasn't even an original part of the business trip. I was supposed to be going to San Francisco, but the film festival, we'll have to do a program about the whole LA part of this, and we'll have to do a program about that later. But as this was coming into fruition, that, okay, going to LA business trip festival, because I pay attention to the news, I generally read the LA Times on a daily basis anyway. I was aware, the Dodgers could potentially be in the World Series while I'm in Los Angeles. Now, I really could not. I've never lived in a city or been in a city while the World Series was happening. I've been in a city that I've not been in a city that was hosting the Super Bowl, but I've been in a city where their team went to the Super Bowl and even their team hosted the conference championship to qualify to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm very familiar with that sort of buzz and influx of energy and all that, in the city. But man, there is nothing in my lived experience that would have prepared me for not just being in a city, but being in Los Angeles simultaneous with the World Series. Wow. I don't even know what to say. It would take me a while to try to even get where the day that I escaped Los Angeles, they burned a bus to the ground, looted stores in celebration of the Dodgers' triumph. And that game wasn't even in Los Angeles. That game was on the opposite side of the continent. So if you can imagine, man, I'm so thankful to escape LA. But business trip, man, if you find out you are going someplace, you should, at minimum, check and see what looks like it's going to be transpiring during that time period, other events that might cause that. What's the weather going to be like? Is it potential storm, anything like that? You don't want to be visiting New Orleans and then find out, what? Katrina? What? Check the news, be informed about any potential hazards or what have you that might happen while you're in the area. And that even means while you're there, watch the news. That's something that I try to do when I travel. Just watch the local news, see what they're, talking about. You might see some things of interest that you want to check out while you're going to be in town, but just check. That is not something that you want to be gobsmacked about. Like, oh my God, the World Series is what? The bus got burnt. What? Man, they started I can't. Anyway, escape Los Angeles. If you're taking a bit, really any sort of trip, but especially business, like, oh man, check the news, be informed. I would also say for business trips, I would have had a really worse time because it was stressful being in Los Angeles. Just the World Series being there alone made it so much more stressful, particularly getting out of Los Angeles and realizing like 24 hours before that riot was my check-in, and they could have potentially rioted that night. They could have swept in one. It's Tuesday night of this week. So, man, it was, man, if I had been in the frame of reference of this is for fun, we're kicking it in LA and having a good time. I'm going to hook up with Snoop. We're going to smoke some reefer and hit a K-Dot concert. And woo, it's just going to be, no. This was business. From day one to the end, business trip. It was stressful, but that helped greatly in navigating, dealing with everything, just plotting. What are we here for? Okay, film festival, and boom, 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 boom. Knocked that out. Saw 15 films at the film festival while I was there. Jennifer Lopez got in the Q&A, was grimy in the Q&A session. Business trips, that way you can be focused about what you are supposed to be doing while you are there. Be focused and be on your assignment. Don't, be tarrying and all the rest and caught up in all. And I mean, man, you want to talk about a town with a lot of distractions, or it'd be very easy to, wait a minute, what are we doing? Particularly, hey, World Series, Bronny James, you would have lots of distractions. Beyond business. Safety, I can't emphasize that enough. It's really any travel, business travel, any travel, safety. And that goes about being informed, man. Man, that could have been such a dicey, because there was even people who lived there who were saying because of the World Series, they lived close to downtown, and that had such a huge impact on everything. Just, man, safety. Try to be aware of your environment. That's why you want to be sober. You're already in an environment where you're a little confused because, I don't know where everything is in Los Angeles and all that. And I mean, you can have, 15 phones and Wi-Fi and tablets and all that. You don't know this environment as well as you know the place where you live, work. You've been there for a year, 2 years, your whole life maybe, whatever it is. It's a little bit uncomfortable. That right there makes it a little bit less safe. Sometimes people can even pick out folks who, oh yeah, you're not even from around here. Yeah, easy mark, that type of a thing. So safety, cannot emphasize that enough. Do everything within your power to be in safe environments. When you recognize it's unsafe, hey, got to make, I do that where I live. I do that in Seattle, but especially when you are road trip, man, that even a place that normally would be safe might become unsafe. Why? The World Series is here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Man, Los Angeles, worst place. So glad I escaped. Business trips have a code. I can't emphasize enough being sober so that you can think and be aware. Scenario variables change as your trip evolves. You might have to compromise some things. I had other, things on my itinerary, even though I'm very proud of what I was able to accomplish while I was in LA. Fabulous. It could have even been more if the World Series, if the World Series had not been there. I would have accomplished even more. But I had the safety. I had to start scratching things off like, they might be rioting and burning buses down like up, scratch, scratch. Like, man, safety. That S word, man. Anyway, audio segments that we heard at the beginning. First up, we heard Jesse Holly, privileged black male. He was talking about being fired, and they called security to escort him from the building. And then he saw the guy later. It was an elderly black man. He was like, man, I sure am glad you didn't, do nothing, because I knew, what am I going to do? Hope this young fella don't hop on me. Can't stress enough. If you are terminated, I think we've heard this before, any of us, regardless of how well you do your job, you show up on time every day, be super competent, you could be fired in the next 5 minutes. That's the system of white supremacy racism. That being said, don't make a scene. You're not going to grapple and all that, because they love the public, humiliations, disgrace black people, throw you out on your ear. That's what, take pictures, put that on IG and all of that. So, no. If you get terminated, even if you're stunned, you don't understand, no problem. One, you don't have a whole lot of knickknacks. They don't have security come in and help you take down all your Halloween decorations and pack up your 15 candy jars. We already got a code about that. No decorations. This is not your office. This is the space you're assigned. Why are you decorated? Shouldn't be no pictures, and got all of your kittens and past pets, children's photographs, and where you went on vacation, fun places you went out in LA. None of that. None of that. Nothing, really, to even take. Go, I open the desk drawers. It's all their property. Look through the file and get all their property. I don't have no little tacky knickknacks and things that you stick onto the computer or the monitor or none of that. None of that. None of that. None of that. Decorate your home computer or whatever. So, no, I don't even need a desk. I need a box, to bring the box of shame for you to load. I don't really have nothing. I can walk out with my head up and hands empty, What did I have here? Anyway, so security comes and, you, thank you, sir, ma'am. And you walk out. That's it. There's no need to jump up and down, because the decision has already been made. So even if you break bad and put him in a headlock, let's say you been doing your push-ups and lifting weights and everything, you super strong, you've been doing some boxing lessons, and you take them down, they just call the man. So, it's no, right on. Walking out, head up, hands empty. Knew this could happen. System of white supremacy racism. Starbucks saying the CEOs, they're of course not talking about the barristers, they've been there the whole time catching the Rona, but the CEOs, probably a lot of individuals classified as white, certainly not lots of black dudes. You are required to be in here at least 3 days a week. We're not doing any more of this permanent work from home and all that old foolishness. Get in at Starbucks. That is Seattle, man. I was homesick before I left. This is the longest time I've been out of Washington State since I moved to the Seattle region. I was homesick before I left. Plantation will be back. Counting down the days. I was counting down the days before I left. Anyway, but Starbucks saying that you got to be back in at least 3 out of 5 days a week, required to be in the office. And I thought it was interesting that they were like, man, some of the people, probably a lot of white people, when they started these jobs, like, man, I'm going to be, enroll my child in school in this place over here, and that sort of flexibility. That is generally supposed to be reserved for people classified as white, like all the way through, to be able to stay home, to be able to, I got this job and I'm hired in Seattle, and we moved out to Idaho to get away from all the hubbub during COVID and to get more space, be in a more rural environment, better school for our children. That's what white people are supposed to be able to do, not black people. And now to feel like that's compromised, like, oh, I feel bad for them. Like, what? What about all the black people? Lots of black people, I bet the baristas, who they didn't get none of that flexibility. They didn't get no work from home option during the Rona. They might even have been in the group that was forced to get vaccinated. I have to go back and check on that because I'm not sure, but I think that might have been the case, at least here in Washington State. Let's see. They had the segment on HBCUs. Actually, I'm going to make sure I got it. Yep, they had the segment on HBCUs and the enrollment for black male, privileged black males. Enrollment dropping. Now, how would that be happening at the same time the enrollment of black males at HBU specifically is dropping while you have a concept like black male privilege? How would that be? If it's going to be some black male privilege, certainly greater likelihood to be accepted or enrolled at an HBCU. No way, Leroy. And even that is not stunning. I believe Dr. Curry talks about this imbalance in the enrollment of black females versus black males in college institutions, that this is something that's been the case for a long period of time. This is not something that just started within the last, couple years, decade or so. Not at all. This, in fact, he said that Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about this over a century ago as being a problem in terms of the imbalance academically, black females to black males, and the same people to blame either century: racist man, racist woman, racist child. This is not, a surprise or how does this continue to happen type of thing. Okay. How does this continue to happen type of a thing? Why hasn't this problem been solved? This is what they want. This is how, and they could flip-flop this if they wanted to. They could flip-flop it and, oh, wow, now we got, all these black dudes in school and no black females. If they wanted to do it that way, they could. But at least for the way that they want to do it, Black Miss Andrea and all, no. For us, it's easier to control Leroy, keep them out of schools and what have you, keep them uneducated that way. We'll keep them in prison and all the way that we want to control the Negro male. No school for you, not even an HBCU for you. That's just how they run the plantation. Have for a long time, but that's the sort of thing that I point. How can it be black male privilege in this sort of environment? Come on now. And then and pause when they mentioned the HBCUs. Pause for Antoinette Bonnie Pendia Bailey. We talked about her suicide at the beginning of this year. She was a faculty member at an HBCU in the Missouri area, and saying that she was a victim of racism and that the white staff that worked there were not responsive to her, practiced racism, and they, did this big investigation. But not that being at an HBCU will keep you safe, be some sort of sanctuary from white supremacy racism. Not at, or even add, HBCUs, racists successfully loot those institutions so frequently. We got so many reports about that. I don't even know if they would have the resources to make proactive programs. Let's say they wanted to correct some of these imbalances. We want to go out and actively recruit black dudes. I don't even know if they have the resources to do this. I could be incorrect, but I mean, the looting part, that's black ink fact. Let's see. They said in that report, they said since 2012, black women are ripping it up. Black dudes, exact opposite. That's not magic. That's not black girl magic, contrary to popular opinion. That is the system of white supremacy racism. Because frequently, I could even hear the interpreter. See, that's because you niggers, Gus T included, you're shiftless, you're lazy, you're chasing white women, you want to be Kobe Bryant, you don't read no books, you don't study, you don't want to go to school. That's what I've been saying. Really? That's the problem. And again, if that's the case, if black women have been ripping it up, why isn't it black female privilege? That would make more sense. No. In an environment where black females are so-called ripping it up and black males are destitute, in that environment, you get a concept, black male privilege. Total insanity. Certainly inaccurate. Let's see. That report about undocumented workers thriving. Man, Neely Fuller Jr. talked about that eons ago, and he laid it out specifically. He talked about the folly, the lie of all of this. He said, when you get people, even Donald Trump, come out and complain, Puerto Ricans and Latinos and immigrants and all this to say, wait a minute now, how did they get here? The migrant workers, Neely Fuller Jr., and this is like years ago. This isn't even he had to come up with this recently. Fuller elucidated this entire concept, I mean, eloquently, like PhD counter racism. And the absurd lie of all of this. And I mean, there's heaps of absurd lies in the system of racism, but this one, like specifically, uniquely, he said, man, you have racists, they will sit around and, man, these jumping Puerto Ricans, like he was complaining about, they're coming over here and taking our jobs, and this is such a problem, and we got to get somebody in there to do something about it, and so it's like, wait a minute. They're getting checks and jobs, and you look at some of the people that's complaining like, wait a minute, Sam, you doing all this griping about these Puerto Ricans and border jumpers and wetbacks and all this. Don't you have a lettuce farm? And Sam said, well, yeah, I do have a lettuce farm, and we got to get that lettuce. I mean, hey, we can't let the lettuce sit out there and rot. I mean, hey, we got a banknote on the farm and all the rest of it, and I mean, we do got these people here, and they say they need a job and they're willing to work, and I do need the lettuce pick, so I guess I'll let them get the lettuce out, and if they gonna get my lettuce out, I guess I gotta give them a check, and I guess I'll tell them at the bank to go ahead and cash it because they did get my lettuce out. I said, well, wait a minute, Sam, come on, Sam, come on. And he said, Fuller said this. This is nothing to this gut. Fuller laid all of this out and laughed at it all. And I mean, it's not even funny because, I mean, lies are not funny. But I mean, that's basically what you got. Like, come on, man. They said the market is thriving. With a T, thriving. They said, man, we're going to pass legislation. President Trump told us, right, former president, sorry. He told us accurately. He said, we're going to put this mandate out. We're going to do the verify, right? When you go to get employment, new job in the state of Texas, we have to go ahead and check to make sure that you are indeed a U.S. citizen, that you're worthy of employment here. And they said it didn't pass. They couldn't get enough Republican votes. I said, don't put the party on that one. If what we're talking about is we couldn't get enough white people to support the amendment, whatever it is, bill that's going to be, we're going to verify that you are a citizen before you can get a job in Texas, because we got, major construction crisis and all that. Like, oh my God. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about you coming out here and, oh man, these beaners, these wetbacks, oh my goodness, the Puerto Ricans, J-Lo, oh Lord. Oh, I just was with J-Lo never mind. They coming over here and taking black jobs. Oh, but I don't want to hear none of that. You can't even get enough white people to come in here and sign the amendment. You can't even come on. That's not Republicans. You couldn't get enough white people. You talk all that lame, racist lies and rhetoric, and then when it's time to, hey, we can solve this problem right now. I do got my lettuce that need to be picked. I don't know. I'm gonna give up my lettuce. I don't know if I'm over nays. Nay. No. Master deceivers all the way to November 5. Master deceivers. No one. And then the lie to us. They say, hey, man, they got serious at the end. They say, hey, we have a housing crisis. We don't have blue-collar workers who have these skills. Construction workers. You need electricians. You need carpenters. We don't have people who have these skills. So if you want houses, we are going to have to get undocumented workers. The system, what system is that? The system is not keeping up with the volume of requests for the verified workers who could come in and do this work. So we gotta have undocumented workers. That was the biggest lie in the segment. It is not on 2050. All of the technology. I'm in San Francisco. I have almost lost my mind the number of times that I have been passed by an autonomous vehicle. Now, I thought we had these in Seattle, but I had to pause because I don't remember one driving past me. I've had multiple autonomous vehicles drive right past me since I've been in San Francisco. You can do that, but you can't train Leroy to put in a toilet? Get the F out of my face, man. Don't you lie to me, man. I've been to Los Angeles and I survived a riot. Don't you lie to me and tell me that you can't train Leroy to put in a toilet, man. You could have carpentry programs in school. That would be something easy. And that's not billions of technology, man. You could set that up in school. What is it? What did you need for the construction of houses? But they got those 3D printing programs. Like, get out of here all day long, man. You can put a drone in every corner of San Francisco, but you can't put a school program in to train Leroy. This is a hammer. This is a nail. Making a good start on getting that house already, buddy. Master deceivers. You could take some of them black dudes that can't go to HBCU, put them in a tray. Pause. All of these black dudes that you've dumped in prison, they got lame prison programs for everything. They got prison programs where they will train you to be a firefighter because we got so-called climate change. And they say, man, we got to train some folks because we don't have enough firefighters either. So we'll train inmates to go and fight fires. If you can do that, you could train incarcerated Leroy. What I just say? This is a hammer. This is a nail. You are going to be a carpenter like Jesus, Leroy. You get out of here, we are going to get you a job like today. And you could give a bonus to construction industry. Hire some of these incarcerated Leroy. Now we don't have all this recidivism. They got a good job, making some money. They can get their babies off of welfare. It'll be good. We rather get undocumented Jose. And then blame the Puerto Ricans on the way to the White House. Master deceivers through and through. Whew, let's see. And then you see, they said this is the economic system. I added economic system of white supremacy, racism. That's what it is. All that labor exploit, and you got it both ways. We could do this the legal way, pay a little bit more money. Nah. We want to do this, get these old undocumented non-white people, call that illegal black market, and then blame them like it's their fault. Master deceivers, man, through and through. Let us see. And they use fairness. They said we want a system that's fair. You know, the people who went through the system and applied the correct way and paid their money in ways it's not fair. You don't care about being fair. Get out of here. Let's see. The reports that we did here, I'm sure there are others. Any hoodles. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Again, Gus T in San Francisco of all places, and in fact I can pinpoint, so I'm in San Francisco right in front of Coit Tower and right, I forgot the pier number. They have pier numbers. The north part of San Francisco. I'm at the pier where the Ferris wheel is. So just within the last 5 days, I was at the Ferris wheel, the famous Ferris wheel, Santa Monica Pier. That's not Los Angeles, but I guess that's considered Metro Los Angeles. But that's the Santa Monica Pier in Santa Monica. I was at that Ferris wheel, took pictures. Bang! Now at the Ferris wheel in San Francisco that is on the pier. I said if I see one more Ferris wheel in California, I'm going to ride it. Any hoodles, but that is bang. In fact, I am at a location where I have the Bay Bridge visible, which is going into Oakland. Have to go there for the cemetery for Jonestown. And the Golden Gate Bridge is visible. I didn't even know they had spots where both bridges are visible in San Francisco, but here I am. So again, we are not lollygagging. If you have commentary, should have been, I thought, like, saved, right? Because we didn't have the program last week. So if people have commentary, the number 605-313-5164, the code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The Golden Gate Bridge, specifically, that's the one, the 2011 Planet of the Apes. They have the big scene at the climax of the film. The apes are taking over Golden Gate Bridge. Remember that one? Lots of famous moments. So I cannot wait till the program is over. I'm going to watch 48 Hours. That is another movie filmed in San Francisco, so I can pick out all the spots that I am familiar with and have been on from the film. Remember Eddie Murphy? He was doing all the goofy sidekicks. Remember that one? Any hoodles. 605-313-5164. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. See if folks are procrastinating this time around. If you have commentary to share, I'll make sure I get our emails in as we are rolling, but no procrastinating as we are out on location. San Francisco. Oh, the trolley cars were like, I really did pick a great spot to hang out for my time here. I am very homesick, but I am homesick, but I did say, like, my anxiety level has dropped about 75% since I escaped Los Angeles, and I thought that it would because I did live in San Francisco and the East Bay, so I'm not exactly ignorant about, like, I've been to all the places that I've named. I have already been. These are not like, oh my God, like I've been to Coy Tower. Oh my God, the pier. I've been to the pier repeatedly. Many times. I don't even remember how many times I've been to the pier. So it's not like this is new, and I thought that would help calm my nerves and even being homesick because this should be familiar, and it is. And that will be the case for Oakland too, because I lived in the East Bay, so I thought I would relax and might even enjoy being back in the Bay Area for some time. And thus far, that has been the case. Thank God. But some of that is for real. Thank God we are out of Los Angeles. Never again. Alrighty, let's see. People who dialed in with a hand up. Let's see. Double O Dimples, non-Clemson Dad, Mama C should be with us. Let's see.
Hello, can I be heard?
Greetings, yes, sir.
All right, so hope everyone's having a wonderful week. Got a couple of things to report. This happened today, actually. Came across a website for government worker salaries. After getting past the managerial positions for my county where I work, the next highest paid positions were the deputy sheriffs. Lots of local governments are having a hard time filling law enforcement positions. So many local governments are offering raises and bonuses to retain and attract new officers. The same local governments are having trouble retaining teachers. But the idea of raising salaries and offering bonuses is far and few. In my department, people constantly complain about pay, and there is high turnover as a result. Pay raises and bonuses are never discussed for retention. Also, I give the example of the city of, I think, Portland, or Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington. I'm forgetting which one right now. I think it's the one in Washington. But the city, the mayor, Bruce Harrell, recently put out his new budget for the city, and they have to cut the budget because they have a budget gap. And they're basically cutting all government departments. So whatever you could think of, like city sanitation, public transit, teachers, etc. Ironically, the police department is still getting a raise.
That's Seattle. Sorry.
Oh, there we go. That's Bruce Harrell. Thank you. Let's see. So let's see. In my department, also, when it came to that whole situation, my white male manager makes more money than his boss, black female, by about $900. At least that's what I came across when I came across the government workers website for salaries. I am unable to find the salary records for the previous planning director, a white male, who has since been promoted to county administrator. But based on his records, I'm really of the assumption that he was definitely making more than the managers that were underneath him. I could be wrong because I haven't. Also, Gus, my wife and I did watch the documentary War Games. Found it to be very interesting. And a couple of things. So let's see. The participants in the war games spanned at least 5 presidential administrations. So that's all the way from currently, I believe, Biden, all the way back to I think the Bill Clinton administration. That's about 5 presidents, right? That's Biden, Trump, Obama, Bush, Clinton. Yep, 5 presidents. Apparently, one of the things they talked about was that everyone was shocked about January 6th, but the only people who were not shocked about it were the people who, well, the far right is what one of the people participating in the war games said. Let's see, the Order of Columbus, sovereign citizen movement. That was the group of people who were the insurrectionists inside the war games scenario. These entities tend to register as churches to circumvent, which means that they don't have to provide any kind of financial records to the government and making it easy for them to circumvent any kind of scrutiny. That was interesting. A lot of churches do that as well too, but they are still heavily involved in politics. I'm not sure if anyone has ever had the opportunity to do any kind of taxes when it comes to like nonprofits or churches, but one of the things the government mandates is that if you ever make an organization that is like a nonprofit 501c3 or 501c4, you're usually not supposed to do any kind of political advocacy. But usually entities like that, like evangelical groups and, of course, sovereign citizen groups are clearly doing political action. Let's see. Things that caught my attention: when cops come across sovereign citizens, they usually let them go to avoid potential issues, including violence, at least the white ones anyways. When black people claim sovereign citizenship, they are usually ticketed and or arrested, and potentially worse. Usually black people claiming sovereign citizenship is black people attempting to opt out of blackness. Some see the government response to January 6th as an underreaction. Personally, I think it was tolerated. Insurrectionists are more angry with the government than they are with Trump. Let's see. Mississippi Senator Doug Jones' role revealed government relationship with social media companies and the government's ability to cause social media to shut down illicit accounts. So one of the things inside the documentary was the ability to basically offer propaganda on social media that could easily incite people to engage in behavior they would not normally engage in. And he kept calling it, hey, it was time to go ahead and shut this stuff down, giving credence to the idea of shadow banning and, of course, shutting things down. Let's see. The Posse Comitatus Act prohibits using active duty personnel or military to execute the laws. They talked about using this, but it's a nuclear option. Black people don't have the numbers or weapons to elicit invoking Posse Comitatus. So what I mean by that is this. The military is called in the government, at least how I'm perceiving it. That's a big deal, but I don't see the government ever calling, for example, the federal government, the federal troops against U.S. citizens, even black people, because it's unnecessary. Regular police forces already have military-grade weapons to use, and it's unnecessary to call the federal troops. Let's see. The FBI identifies 7% of military as Order of Columbus, or basically insurrectionists. Once upon a time, my wife and I read the book called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, and it talks about what percentage of people do you need to create some kind of change, and maybe that, what is that percentage of people that's really needed to actually get something to change in a society. Let's see, Michael Flynn, he was one of the people in the documentary. He is a retired 4-star general who was part of stoking January 6th. Considering his former position, that should have been a treason charge. War game producer shocked her dad, who she described as a smart guy, was spouting far-right conspiracy theories. Let's see, Red Cell Commander Christopher Godsmith was almost an insurrectionist. This was the guy who was in the documentary, and he was playing the part of the insurrectionist. And this was insightful because one of the things he said is that at one point when he was in the military, before he joined the military because of 9/11. But after going to war, it made him disgruntled and angry. And the only difference between him and people who become insurrectionists is that he simply made a different choice. He, at least he says, he cares more about the country than some of the stuff that far-right people espouse when they become in contact with these types of groups. Let's see. Retired Major General Linda Singh was the only one to outright say white supremacy was a major problem in the military, and this was a black female, though she was prompted by another person in the documentary, General Wesley Clark, who I believe is a 4-star general. For those who might not understand the military ranks, a major general is a 2-star general while in the Army, while a full general was a 4-star general. And then there was also talk about the Insurrectionist Act, not to be confused with Posse Comitatus, allows for federal government to take control of state National Guards as opposed to sending in the military. Personally, I don't see the difference in this because both have access to military-grade weapons. The military chaos like that in January 6th remind me of some of the chaotic stuff that was happening when people were randomly shooting at electrical substations. And then I think one of the things that was also said in the documentary was 1 in 5 military personnel have insurrectionist leanings. We watched that documentary twice. It was very interesting. And with that, hold on, my wife might have something to say. Give me one moment.
Okay, can I be heard?
Greetings, Mama C.
Greetings, Gus. Greetings, COWS listeners. I just wanted to provide a little insight into the crisis, the labor crisis, and the teacher shortage when it comes to Head Start. I used to work for a community action organization about 5 or so years ago. And teacher shortages have always been a problem in the more modern day. But one of the problems with the teachers is, yes, as mentioned in the audio clip, a lot of the teachers recognize that they can make more with the school district, and the school district is actively those teachers and actively recruiting the families to send their students. So it used to be like kindergarten, and then they created a 4K program, and now they're attracting younger and younger children. So pretty much Head Start, what used to serve families with children birth to 5, now it's more like birth to 3.5, because as soon as the child turns 4, they're looking to send them to the school district with their other children. Maybe the schedules work out better. Maybe they all can go to the same school. They get more access to different resources such as transportation to take the children to school and just other things. But one of the perks of being a teacher at Head Start or being an administrator at Head Start is if you have young children or even grandchildren, you can bump them up on the waiting list. And so they have priority to be able to get into a particular program, like a particular school, maybe the one that you work at or is nearby. So initially, it probably worked out very well. 2-parent households, the male would have a traditional job, let's just say at a factory, and then the wife, she would become a Head Start teacher, and maybe she would start off as a sub. They'd pay her in pay for her training to become a teaching assistant. And then over time, she would move up to a teacher role. They would pay for her education, send her back to school. And then maybe that person would be handpicked to become an administrator. So that's kind of like the big picture. There's so many perks, and you want to stay at Head Start because you have the perks of being able to send your own young children to Head Start, early Head Start, and then the Head Start program. But as more and more families became like single parent households, now they have to deal with the cost of living going up and up and up and up and up. So the Head Start program, even though it's a federally funded program, it really can't keep up with the wage requirements for families headed by just one parent. So yeah, they're having to make the tough decision to go to the school district. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, and I think the audio clip mentioned that particular Head Start program had like 1,000 children on the wait list. It's pretty competitive, like these families trying to get their children into the school district program, like 4K programs, and then the 5K program. But and then the Head Start, like again, it's based on location. Certain Head Start programs, they have different reputations, or maybe they have better quality staff. But what I noted when I was working at this particular agency, I think out of 350 staff members, they were short about 60 teaching roles. And what would happen? They wouldn't have enough staff to meet the ratio requirements, which is for early Head Start with 8 young children. It could be infants, it could be 2-year-olds. You have to have two adults per 8 children. So you're looking at like four children per teacher or teaching assistant. And then for the Head Start program, those can go up to 20 if you have a mix of 3 and 4 at the beginning of the school year who turn 4 and 5 years old. And then again, you have 2 adults for anywhere between 15 to 20 students. So because maybe they have one teacher and there's 12 Head Start children in there, you're dealing with ratio issues and not being in compliance with the federal government's requirement, but also people getting burned out and them also recruiting a lot of the parents. So what I noted was a lot of the substitutes who would just sit in there and basically be in charge of watching over these children, making sure that they receive, their daily snack and activities and everything. The substitutes ended up being a lot of migrant families, people who knew a little bit of English or, both English and Spanish. And it was very interesting. So the demographics and the needs are shifting, and typically among the migrant population, they rely on the community to support them, so more multi-generational households. So maybe it's grandma who's in the classroom as a substitute because she's, it's supplemental income for her. It's great income if you have other people in the household, or maybe it's the wife or the girlfriend, and she's able to, have in her classroom or at least in the same center and watch over her children while taking care of these other children while her husband or partner is at work. So the goal initially was this type of income was supposed to be supplemental, not primary income. Okay, and with that, I will end my share.
Fascinating. Mama C, non-Clemson dad, Double O Dimples, featured as well. Interesting, she said ratio issues, R-A-T-I-O, ratio issues, but certainly ratio would apply too from, what she shared there. But the ratio issues and not being in compliance and not having the resources and lots more children and blah, 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 and all of that would also be something to investigate and consider prior to having children in terms of what resources your child would have access to in your area. But yes, that is fascinating. And again, the Head Start. Now, I guess, if this is supposed to be supplementary income, I guess, but I mean, I don't know. It seems like they have a lot of these jobs and resources that are intended for non-white people, either non-white children or non-white older people, where it just does not keep up with the inflation of the times and pricing of the system of white supremacy. But either or, the war game segment that non-Clemson dad referenced, for people who might not have been aware, I think when he shared 2 weeks previously, he said that he told some of his attempted family, non-white, that he was concerned, he and his wife, about possible election violence, and they did their absentee ballots and everything, and were kind of trying to take precautions. They got a young child and everything, and this could be serious. And he said that they respond. This is valedictorian, mind you, and they was, oh, here you go, fake news, fake news, fake news. Anyway. And so he said, well, it was on NPR. He didn't tell him it was on the compensatory column, because he just said it was on NPR, which is true. And they didn't say anything. I'll take silence. He didn't say they called him a coon or anything. So, right on. And so that just stuck with me like, man, I said, that's, how difficult things are for us as victims of racism. And because he didn't say anything radical, he didn't say contribute $1,000 to Neely Fuller Jr.'s books. Contribute $25 to Gus T. Renegade. He didn't say anything crazy like that. I'm concerned about didn't you see January 6th? Is that fake news too? Didn't that happen? Dang. Fake news, that stuck with me for some reason, right? Like, I don't know if maybe they weren't there. Maybe they, didn't see, they forgot he's valedictorian. Like, you old crazy black people just around here with your loony talk, like they forgot he's valedictorian. Like, okay. When I'm going to Los Angeles, I check to see what else is going to be happening. Business trip, doing business things. Literally the day that I stepped foot into LAX, USC, this isn't even part of the film festival, USC, O.J. Simpson's alma mater, they hosted a film screening for War Games. And they had the filmmaker there. She was in the film. She was the one talking about her dad and the suspected racist views that her dad had. But she was at USC for the film screening. I did not even check into, that's how I was on business every step of the way. I didn't even check into my hotel room. I left LAX and went directly to USC. My flight arrived at 1. The screening was at 4:30. I was one of the first people there. I was the only one with luggage. Front row. And I was the first person with my hand up to ask a question about, and even the person that he mentioned, I forgot her name. I wouldn't even talk about it because it's not workplace racism. But the black female general that he mentioned, she came up in the Q&A because I asked about white supremacy racism. And she told us, she said that black female lost friends because of January 6th. Now, I think that's in the film. Now, there's a story behind all of that. We asked in the Q&A. In fact, we went up even after the Q&A because she stayed to talk a little bit more in the lobby. So we went. So there's a story behind that with this black man. She said, oh, yeah, there's a story behind that, January 6th, and it is all about white supremacy racism. And I got her car. That was how concentrated my experience was in Los Angeles like this. I didn't even get a chance to check into my hotel, and I got her contact information. It was like, oh, yeah, I do this podcast. Blah, blah, blah. You come on the program. Blah, blah. That was the first film that I saw. That wasn't even attached to the film festival, where I saw 15 additional films. And the directors were there for most of them, too, including soundtrack to Coup d'etat. Most concentrated experience in Los Angeles possible. Went to USC and UCLA. O.J. Simpson, Jackie Robinson. But it was fascinating. If you have not seen that documentary, war games. Got to see it on the big screen at USC. That was fascinating too. And then they had some of the other filmmakers. But yes, the election is. You should tell family members you should watch that film, man. What do you mean fake news? What are you talking about? Fake. Then Rodney King. That was the other thing I can't believe, man. I stepped into L.A. the day I arrived into Rodney King. They mentioned Rodney King in that film. They used the Insurrection Act on Rodney King, or during the Rodney King riots in 1992 in L.A. I didn't even know that. And the person facilitating the event, she said she didn't know that either. Rodney King. I've been saying it's Rodney King, O.J. Simpson, and to be at USC and to have both of them come up immediately. Unbelievable. Right and exact. Rodney King. Rodney King. All righty. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in with a hand up. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Wacky times. You have to have a pass. They don't even let you on the campus at USC. You have to have I was so on business though. I signed up. I had my ticket for this event. I was officially registered, and they were on business too. They dinged my phone and hit me with my pass so that I could properly enter campus. I strolled up and they were looking like, "Who are you? Nigga, you got all that luggage, you got a bomb. Who are you? O.J. Simpson cousin." I whipped out my phone. Bings. Oh, right on. Have a good day. And I strolled right on campus. Woo, man, I can see why people lie and cheat and scheme to get into USC. Wow. Me and Brodie James would have been thick as thieves. I would have my life right if I had been to USC. Fight on, Trojans. The number is 605-313-5164. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in with a hand up. Line should be open.
Can I be heard?
Bay Area mommy, we will be neighbors for almost a month. I'll be able to wave across the bay from San Francisco. Hopefully you are holding it down, behaving in Oakland. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yay. Yay, I'm so excited. Greetings to you and everyone participating. Thank you for taking my call. So, of course, I don't get to hear the commentary because I'm working, but I can chime in. So this week, it's been hard because I'm at the school in West Oakland, and those poor children have so many behaviors. And it's just so sad. And there's this one little girl in particular, second grade. She'll attack the teachers, bite the teachers, hit the teachers. She comes to school to terrorize the teachers and the children. Well, her teacher and the children. So I guess I hadn't seen her because she had gotten suspended. She even threatens the lady. She's like 72, 73 years old. She's a school counselor. Mental health fight, and she threatens to beat her up and threatens her, and you got to hold her down from jumping on her. And the parents always, I'm going to record this because I want to sue. So it's almost, it puts you in the mind that they bring them to predominantly black schools so you can kind of bully the staff to fix them or take care of them, and you be bothered with them because we don't want to. So they just have a basic 0% rate. And this child got suspended. So, and she's like, I got suspended for biting my teacher. Yeah, I bet I'm going to bite her again. So I had to block her from attacking the teacher today because I don't know. The teachers that don't have CPR training. I do. So I was just blocking her. She shouldn't even been. They're supposed to start outside, but she has a para that had her in our morning circle, which is so strange. So she doesn't get the help that she needs, it's kind of like you're just pacifying her just to keep her content because you don't want any problems with the parent. And I'm sure you do want all bodies there because all bodies count as money. I don't know what they're going to do with her. I don't have problems with her because I don't deal with her. And if I have to deal with her, I don't tolerate all that foolishness. It's just so sad. I want to bring it to the little boy in the room. So we had Halloween. He was excited about Halloween. I guess a lot of children are excited about Halloween. So I got him, because he doesn't like his brother. I got him to engage with his brother. He has a twin brother. He doesn't like his brother around. I'll give you an example. I took a picture. His brother just so happens they didn't come out to use the restroom or something. And what I do with the little boy is we just go outside after he does a couple of things inside his morning meeting. We go to his general ed class that he never goes to. We go to that class, and I have him stay first. It started at 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. Now it's up to 15. And we sit there, listen. He has noise cancellation earphones on. Then we leave and we go. I bought him some binoculars. So I have some and he has some, and we like to watch the birds. And we've named the geese. It's funny. So he'll be Elizabeth, Dorothy, Dexter, no fighting. Same feet. So I have to say that to the birds to remind him to have a calm body and safe hands, and because he'll get to kicking and spitting, carrying on. He slapped his speech teacher this week as well. He slapped her, and I guess he bit somebody else. And crazy. So he didn't go home. His mother was supposed to pick him up, but she never did. She picked him up right after, after school, like normal. I got him on yesterday to engage with his brother. They had the parade, so I went out and walked with him. All the kids, so they all wanted to do this group of second graders. They all want to, walk with us. And then his twin that doesn't have autism, he's like, "Can I walk with my brother?" He asked the teacher, "Can you walk with his brother?" Which is walking with you. So the teacher says, "Yeah, thanks for asking." So they walked together. I took pictures and sent them to his mom. Well, they're both their mom. And it was nice for me because he doesn't engage at all. They told me he didn't talk. He wasn't even talking or anything until I got there. So I make him speak every morning to the people that, the adults that we pass. How are you doing? How are you doing? Fine, how are you? So he talks a lot more. I don't know what it is with him and his speech therapist. She's white, but when he sees her now, he kind of covers his face and runs. And she says she's on the spectrum too. We went upstairs to the boys' office. So we wanted to go, the twin wanted to go, I want to go in his room now. So we went in there. I let him come upstairs. And he's like, "Whoa, such and such SeaWorld. This is world? Oh, man, where's his hammock? Where's it? Oh, I want to play on his iPad." "No, you don't. You're going home." So I'm going to come here every day. "No, you won't. No, you won't." So he's having a ball. And so the speech therapist up there. And then the other girl is just sitting there, the black girl that wants to date the teacher there. She's up there, is just in there sitting. And so the speech therapist was asking questions. You know how people are when they want to ask kids questions to get information. So what she got out of her line of questioning was the twin that's not autistic gets in trouble if the twin that is autistic is uncomfortable. He has to clean up behind him, and if he says a word, he'll get a whooping. So I'm listening to this, and I always knew that this child with autism was in control of the house. his 11-year-old brother helps a great deal with the two boys. And we were just, and the speech therapist was there, when I was talking to the 11-year-old brother, and she was asking him, something about what they like to play, and it's all Death Die too, whatever these games are. And so he said that the speech therapist asked the 11-year-old brother something to where it was like, oh no, I never have my phone. I never get to use my phone unless I'm at school. Because my little brother, the boy with autism, he always has his phone. When he'll just walk up to the little boy and reach for his pocket, and he must give him the phone. So the 11-year-old is accustomed to the rules to keep the child comfortable. I still work in progress with this 7-year-old, but then I don't want to, because I feel like the twin brother is under pressure. From having that heavy responsibility. He's only 7 years old. I have him in after school, so I have him for 3 hours after school, and the children, the pressure that we put on our children because we decided to have children. I also think, I know you think I'm crazy, but I also think that when we were in the house during the pandemic, something was implemented on these polls that something happened because the behaviors are out of control in these schools, in particular, the ones with the Black children. I'm telling you, I believe something is triggering the behaviors to make the children out of control. I believe it's some kind of technology. Something happened. I don't know, conspiracy. I don't even know what that means. Something happened, and the behaviors are being displayed in school, particularly elementary school. And last thing, so the girl that likes to date the guy at this job, it's getting so out of hand. She'll come to me and talk, but I don't want to talk about that. I just only want to talk about the children. I don't want to talk about foolishness, so I'll spin off. Now everyone is talking about her always going upstairs to the gentleman's classroom that teaches music, has been there for 9 years. So she's always in his classroom, to where now the staff is discussing this because she's leaving the children to go upstairs to hang out with this gentleman. Now what they did was they placed her, however they positioned her for after school, she can't leave the children because she has to stay because she's the only one in that grade, because she totally took advantage of the spaces when there were other bodies in there. So I guess they gradually trying to make her not have that much free time. And now the teachers are talking because during the parade, she does have a child there. They needed her to work because we're at work and do whatever she does. So she's a parent for a child. They're looking for her. She's not there. You want to know why? Because she wants to be with her child. But that's not how it works. We're at work. And you need to be with the child that you're paying you to be with. So it's turning into that kind of environment. So I just kind of stay out of it. They had a potluck, a little personal potluck, maybe 5 people brought food. It was like, you can bring a banana pudding. No, I've never made a banana pudding in my life. I can't bring a banana pudding. So it's that kind of thing. So I try not to, and I don't like personal potlucks anyway, because it seems like if you have those kind of potlucks, then other employees are going to wonder why they weren't invited. It turned into a big thing. And they were saying, we can have one of these every month. And I said, no. I said, I'm not making nothing. And so It's like, why? Because I don't like everybody's food, so I don't want to participate. So the girl said something. Oh, God, Jesus Christ. Hey, I'm not even talking to you. I'm not talking to you. You want to participate? Bring something. I don't want to participate and I don't want to play. So, been wild at school. The behaviors are out of control. I don't know what is going on, but something is going on. And thank you for taking my call. I will mute my line, and I'm so glad you're out here. Yay. Not like that. It's a little cold out here, but yay. Okay.
That weather is always a relative thing. It is substantially colder in Seattle and getting crisper by the minute. And ironically, the temperature the last 2 days at least has been about the same in LA and San Francisco. Like it was really hot there, or that it was over 80 degrees Fahrenheit or around for most of the time I was there until the last couple days when it was about time for them to riot and loot over the Dodgers win. Then the temperature started to drop. It was actually kind of cool. It was about the same weather it's been here, like low 60s. I think it might even been hovering right at 59, but it's been right. All of that is way warmer than what I would have if I were back in good old Seattle. So I would not be sitting outside doing this program gleefully if we were in Seattle. A little too crisp, and it's been rainy in Seattle, so weather is for sure relative. I make a mean banana pudding, vegan. Got pictures, made it for the yoga retreat that was in 2020 in Washington, D.C. Verified other people ate it. In fact, I made homemade vanilla wafers, vegan, and I made it again, and I substituted vanilla wafers for shortbread cookies. All of that said, I would not volunteer to make that for no type of potluck ever, under any circumstances, for any reason. Same thing I just said. Now, we just talked about COVID-19. Hey, that would be a good reason. Oh, no. We just had the COVID, and, my stomach is sensitive, and I got the gluten and dairy-free peanut allergies. I got the diabetes. Like, I would have about a long list of, no, I can't even. No, thank you. But you all go ahead and have a good time. Jesus Christ, that's what I say about you niggers. And that old Gus T can't do nothing. Try to have a bond and accusation. That might be one where I might even have to hit him with the old. Well, you all have a good time. I'm going to talk to you later. Woo! Because there's no cause to get in. Like I didn't say you all shouldn't do it. I didn't say I'm going to throw rotten tomatoes at your car. If you bring anything in, just, I'm good. I got the allergies. I'm on a diet. It's Christmas time. I don't want to pick up all that extra weight. Got to keep my, good looking for 2025, That's all I said. Why is that? Oh, God. That's what that's see. Conflict. That's another one. See, now, if someone classified as white had just, oh, no, I don't want to participate in the potluck, would it have been, oh, God, Karen, that's what I say about you. Either or. Right on. Y'all do what you do. Have fun. Whoopee with the potluck. She said are they bringing students to this school because they know they have a lot of black faculty, non-white faculty, so that the parents can come and bully the staff and kind of push them around? You need to do this, get my child straight. It would not surprise me. Like, come get to act a fool and dump all your problems on them, and that's what black people or non-white people, that's what they're here for, so we can come and yell at them? Get me to a new school district immediately. Let's see. She said they had the young children, and the one sibling was self-soothing the other child, or giving them allowing them to self-soothe with the phone. Now, once again, these didn't sound like, I could be wrong, these didn't sound like 17-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 13-year-olds. I could be wrong. I didn't see him. Maybe I messed it up, when she was telling us the details. But these sound like kind of young children, Man, wait as long as possible. Now, if you're telling me as a parent that a 9-year-old, you all, go out to the store, you all at the Macy's or whatever, and they saw the new iPhone and they just overpowered you. You gonna get me this phone right now. They strong arm forced you up to the register with the new iPhone and made you put that debit card down and get it right now. Now, if because I don't have the offspring, see, if that's what you're telling me this is, man, you definitely, what the genius Bay Area mama, she said, hey, you don't have to have the children. If your child at 8, 5, 6 can strong arm you and make you get that iPhone, you don't need to have the children. Wait as long as possible, especially if you're going to model. I'm just on my phone all day long and click and like and Instagram, boop, 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 all day long. If that's what you're going to model for your child, you don't need to have the children. Self-soothing. That's just, they just go get the phone. And that's how I calm my jangled nerves. Now, what does that look like? You've been doing that since you were 5. You've been doing that for 15 years from 5 years. What does that look like for your adult life forward? How much of attention span do you have? Now, even talk about impact and such, what they call it, Occam's razor. I'm an ignorant fellow myself. I do try to take the easy route. And I would say just looking at, what has transpired last 4 to 5 years, the number of deaths, you can attribute that to COVID-19 or whatever else, but it seems like a lot of non-white people died. You had a lot of job loss and insecurity that impacted a lot of non-white children. Is mama going to have a job? Are we going to have to move? Are we get a divorce? Oh my gosh, we going to have enough to eat? Seems like there's been a lot of that. And in the school situation, we got people, work in the schools and such where, are we going to school? Are we not going to school? You have to get a mask. Oh, you don't wear the mask. You got to get a vaccine. Oh, we're not going to do the vaccine. All of that. And we're in a system of white supremacy racism. We're in a system of white supremacy racism. They mentioned George Floyd in the audio clip for the black dudes not going to school. Like, for the children who watched that, who were 5 years old, and they in Minneapolis or Minnesota or wherever else, and they watched all that. Breonna Taylor. I'm a simple, ignorant victim of white supremacy, but I think all of that might have an impact on children in a substantial, the pandemic was unprecedented. Like I said, you're going to school. You're not going to school. You're going to sit at home on the computer. Now, I just said the health impact. You're going to sit at home on that screen. Some of you don't even have, oh, mama lost a job. Now we don't have Wi-Fi. Oh, no. Now I could see where a lot of that might drive all kinds of erratic behavior. Maybe they did, put something in the water. Well, hey, we already knew about Flint. So, we already knew there was something in the water. Yes. They said that with Freddie Gray. We already knew there was something in the water. So, it could be that they did something on top of all of that. But certainly, I think that would be enough to cause some erratic behavior. Even amongst the number of adults, I think that would be enough to cause really erratic behavior. I could be in error, still learning. But that's why I came to San Francisco. Still learning. Anyhoodles. Let's see. Was anything else? Oh my God, the dating app. Man, we talk about that all the time. We're not, look at that. I'm not even doing what I'm supposed to. We're supposed to be here to help these children, man. We're supposed to be here to help these children, man. They struggling with the pandemic or whatever else, but they're struggling. She said the behaviors and everything. We could even be helping to wean them off these phones and such, man. I think California is one of the places they were talking about that, doing the no phones. No phones. Ridiculous. You need to be able to talk to another person, can't be interrupted, and you got to get your likes in, and no phones. We're done. They could be weaning them. Nah. I'm trying to get my date on. Boy, You seen Classroom 26? Boy, that is something nice in front there. I got to get down there and see if they need some more teacher assistance. Come on. Come on. What? That's why I think Fuller said, man, have to have correct intentions, especially on the job. We're not there to be making, friends and homies and none of that. We're there, whatever the job is, particularly if you're a teacher, man, we're here to serve these children, period. Not to hang out. She even said that, had other folks, I'm trying to, hey, let's hang out this weekend. We go down to the pier, catch, Steph Curry, we catch a Golden State Warriors game. What you say? Go to the beach? What you think? What? I didn't come with what? Come on, man. Come on. I just asked if you need a ride home, not to, let's go spend the weekend together. Come on. It is a lot of that in the workplace. That's not why you take a job, to make hangout buddies for the weekend. Or dating interest. That is like absurd. All kinds of absurd. Come on, man. And could be the type of thing to get you in trouble. Not on 2030. Let the wrong person hear. What? What did you say? You think he's cute? Are you assigned to this classroom? He like, man, let the wrong person hear that, you could for sure be out of a job, especially if you are a privileged black male and got your hormones leading you around, who you trying to talk to and all that, as opposed to doing your job. Man, come on. Let's see. Let me nab one email, and then we will get to other folks who dialed in, *61, if you have commentary, especially if it's been saved up since we weren't on last week. All right. Email number 1. Hi, Gus. I've been applying for jobs, so I've not been able to participate in the C.O.W.S for the past few weeks. I had my first job interview last week, but was unsuccessful. Head up. Even though I didn't get the job, I'm so much more confident than I have been in years. Bravo. I could have done better if not for the racism and the anti-blackness which has been relentless. Harry, for the last 2 years, has ignored emails that I send him when he decides I need to be put in my place. We had our division's away day last month, and he ignored me for the whole day. We all went to a bar after the away day. I only stayed half an hour. The man sat at the table next to me and turned his back to me. And that's not the first time he's done that. I've never so much as had a cross word with this man. We used to have a cordial working relationship, but it soured when the racist ex-manager was in the post because she lied about me. I believe his dislike for me was communicated to Shauna, and she also maligns my character. This week, before Shauna sent me an email, I didn't respond to it straight away, but I wasn't ignoring her. She sent a follow-up email stating that I did not acknowledge her email, so I knew some BS was coming my way. I had my performance conversation last week and was told that I need to respond to her and Harry's emails in a timely manner. She mentioned an email Harry sent to me that had to reply on my behalf. I didn't know what she was talking about, so I asked her to clarify which emails. She mentioned an email that he had sent that morning. I had been to back-to-back meetings, and the email he had sent was a response to an email that I sent him on the 18th of October. His response took 4 working days. I told her that me not acknowledging an email doesn't mean that I'm ignoring a request from her or Harry, and that I had no idea it was an issue. She acknowledged that A, she had never raised it before. We were having this conversation for the first time at my quarterly performance meeting, and B, that I have never missed the request. In other words, I do the job I'm paid to do, and there is no problem. That is a little tacky that this is an email from this morning. Come on, man. Come on. Y'all are, that is, wow. It doesn't get any better than tacky. Now, again, this is all non-white people, Now, I think Shauna is classified as black, but still, all non-white people, tacky. That is about the best you can expect in the workplace, period. Continuing. And bravo, staying calm. This is one of those we talk about all the time. you can't be surprised when you get falsely like accused in the workplace, because this is such a common occurrence. You just have to know that this day is going to come. So deep, man, let me tell you, out of all of the bad things about Los Angeles and the unique aspect of being there for the World Series, man, the air quality of Los Angeles is so bad. I would not have done a program sitting outside in Los Angeles. Like, man, I went to the beach. Like, I get the impression that many people go to Los Angeles, especially black people, but they do not go to the beach. WTH, man. Like, if you're going to go to hell, at least can I get by the water fountain for a little while? Like, what? The air quality of LA is so bad. I feel like I could not even inhale deeply for the past god-awful 8 days of my time there. Like, man, 8 days is a long time to be somewhere with bad air quality, especially coming from Seattle, where the air is so crisp to come. Oh, man, I could not even breathe deeply while I was in Los Angeles. Oh, man, the air quality is quite a bit better in San Francisco. I don't say it's the best. It's not like being out in the country or anything like that, but it is not. It was so bad, the air quality, I could not see the Hollywood sign at times while I was in Los Angeles. We were underneath the Hollywood sign, literally, while I was in Los Angeles. We were in Hollywood. I could not see the Hollywood sign because of the smog at times. Like the air quality is I cannot think of anywhere that I've lived in. Atlanta has really bad air quality too. I can't think of anywhere in the world I have ever lived or visited that has worse air quality than Los Angeles. Oh my God. I can't even, Matt, I was talking to a black journalist. We went to see The Order. Oh, I have to talk about the film festival later. Anyway, we were going to see the film, and I said, man, does the air quality, does it bother you being here? And he said, oh man, and he grew up in Seattle, Washington, so he knew, like, the contrast. And he said, oh, black brother, see, you're coming from the place where they got all them trees, and you're accustomed to breathing, see, get all that good clean air. He said, oh no, you in Los Angeles. He said, black brother, I got asthma. Don't you know I moved down here and my asthma is terrible. It just acts up all the time. Man, oh my God. I could cry. I can't even breathe. I'm still recuperating. Man, I'm going to tell you, that's almost exactly verbatim the conversation. That's almost exactly what he said. Asthma and all. And asthma is nothing to laugh about. People miss a lot of work days, school days. People die around asthma. Children die around asthma. That's nothing to laugh about. Man, I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, like, what? What? I'm going to move to a place that inflames my asthma even more, makes it even more difficult to breathe. Man, I got to get out of here. Ooh, what is better than breathing? I got like real Fuller-esque about it, man. What is better than breathing? If you think of something, if you find out what it is, please let me know. What is better than breathing? And do they have it in LA in great abundance? Jesus. All right. And see, the things that are cool. We in LA, we right beneath the Hollywood sign. Put that on IG, boy. Gus T, you see the Hollywood. Wait a minute. We can't even, come on. Let's see. She continued. Sent that morning, blah, blah, blah. She been doing her job, no problems. Harry sent a different email, which was addressed to Shauna and me. Her name was first, and usually the person named first is the person they want to lead, so I waited for Shauna to respond. Harry emails later that day asking if I received the email. I replied yes, and that I didn't reply because Shauna was the first name in the email. He didn't respond. See, does it one more time. Triple T, it does not get it. Is it something that you need? He didn't even reply. Like, are you serious? You just want me to acknowledge. Kind sir, I acknowledge that you have included me in the email. Most beneficent, most powerful, omniscient master, thank you for including me in your correspondence. I will dutifully answer your call if you beckon. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What? That's what you need. Are you sick? Come on. Come on. Woo! She continues. Shauna sent me a different email, which was the follow-up to an email she had sent about the chair and other equipment I need for my back. Oh, let's see. She said I did not respond to her email and asked if I had followed up with HR. I emailed her back to let her know it was on my list for the day and that I didn't reply to the email because we had discussed the issue in my one-to-one meeting. I emailed HR, and she then, for the first time, chased HR to speed up the process. I asked her for a laptop so that I don't have to carry the one I have to and from my home as it's heavy and hurts my back. Now, even that, man, what kind of prehistoric dinosaur machine do you have? A heavy, I mean, Jesus Christ, man. They have tablets now that are like a pound. Literally. I mean, WTH. What do you mean a heavy laptop? What do you mean a heavy laptop? How is it? It is almost 2025. What do you mean a heavy? I'm trying to see my laptop. I can pretty easily carry my laptop in one hand. Easily. Easily. And I don't even have the newest laptop. Like, I'm sure if I had a new MacBook Pro, like, oh my God, like, those things are like a Frisbee, man. Jeez, come on. They stick you with some old, like, 1954 laptop that weighs, like, 5 tons. Like, here you go. That's your machine. That's your machine, yes. I emailed HR, and she then thought, okay, we got that. Got the heavy laptop. Occupational health said it was fine, but the accessory did not include it in the report. I queried it at the time last April, and for some reason no one could make the decision to send the laptop. Shauna suggested they provide me with a carrier on wheels. She is not a psychic and has no business making any recommendations other than to get HR to issue one of the many laptops they have in stock. Maybe one that was made in the last, I don't know, decade? I messaged back to let her and HR know that I don't want the carrier as I will need to lift it and I need, like, what kind of machine is, like, real talk, what kind of machine is this? I bet you, I told you this is like some talk about, Bill Clinton was probably president when they made this laptop. I'm sure they'll probably have stickers on Clinton, Gore, 96. They stick us with some old lame equipment. Like, yeah, that's the Negro. Oh, no, we don't have no extra ones. Everybody else got the old sleek. They got the brand new 2024 MacBook Pro that's all that you can carry it like on your pinky. The battery lasts for 24 hours. And she's like, you need like a forklift. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. Woo, behave, because that's not funny, especially if you have. But I mean, Jesus Christ, are you serious? Come on, man. Woo, like, real talk, desktops computers are not heavy at this point. Like, unless you have, you would have to have like a 50-inch monitor for it to be heavy at this point. Like, if you have a normal 30-inch type monitor for a desktop computer, those aren't even heavy at this point. Come on, man. Pardon. Okay. LA, see, the smog, see. Let's see. Although a month ago, make sure I didn't miss all the back problems. I messaged back to let her know, HR know, that I don't want the carrier. About a month ago, the broadband went down in my area for the whole day, which rarely happens. Shauna was mad about it and kept harassing me on my personal mobile. What is more unusual is that the connection problems I experience when I'm on Zoom meetings. This problem is due to the company network and laptop. Shauna raised the issue in my performance meeting, not during our weekly one-to-one meeting, but in my performance appraisal. She asked if I thought about getting a Wi-Fi booster. I said no, because it's not a Wi-Fi issue and that other devices work fine. Maybe it's because I have a 1975 computer. Maybe, like... I'm sorry. Anyway, She then acknowledged that Harry has the same problem with his laptop. He probably got a 1975 machine too. This tells me she's discussed my connection issues with him, creating a negative impression of me, and that she intended on giving me a bad appraisal. I had a connection issue last week, but was only offline for a few minutes. I could see her typing away when I rejoined the call, which I assumed was her keeping a log, but it isn't a performance issue, or at least not mine. And if she really wants to solve the issue, she can contact IT and request that they pay for a Wi-Fi booster or arrange for me to get 2 new laptops. You know, that is not how we are not fitting to get this nigger no new. She said 2. She didn't even say 1. See there? Greedy niggers. That's why you're going to keep that 1975 model you got forever. See, I also previously reported that Shauna had raised my sickness absences with me as I had been ill 5 times in a rolling 12-month period. That's 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in a 12-month rolling period. That was about a month ago, and she was supposed to follow up with me in a one-to-one meeting 5 days after the email. She mentioned it last week. Apparently, she's never been concerned about my sickness attendance. I sent her an email confirming our discussion, which she acknowledged. I think the only reason she is not making an issue of my attendance is because HR let her know that the inaction on my request for a chair, desk, laptop, etc. would nullify any spurious claim she could make. I needed the issue to go away because if an employee is on any kind of action plan, which she could have required, I would not be able to apply for another role internally for at least 3 months. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Meanwhile, inebriated Annie has been AWOL for weeks. Come on. This is the same white chick who stole money from the company and everything, and she just vanishes? Man, if that had been Leroy, he would have been fired. Police charges. Come on. How is she still on the payroll? How does her fob work to even still get in the building? You've been AWOL for weeks. You should have been fired. And she probably absconded with like the company credit card and probably more petty cash. Come on, man. The box of rubber bands. What else she could pilfer? Come on. Any hoodles. Let's see. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Back problems are nothing to laugh at. Back problems are nothing to laugh at. Other folks who dialed in with a hand up, we have our caller in Florida, the Black African. I hope people did not participate in Halloween. I think Barry, your mom told us they tried to kind of twist her arm into participating in the potluck and to do banana pudding or whatever else, and she just, give a firm no candy, all that, because we're going into that season. They might try to do the same thing, Thanksgiving, Christmas. No, I'm on a diet. No, I'm gluten-free. No, I'm diabetic. No, I'm on the Ozempic. No. No candy either, like for real. And no talking politics. Like I said, I am excited the election, because that has not been on my mind at all. It's just been survive Los Angeles. Survive Los Angeles. I'm so thankful I do not live in Los Angeles. But I totally forgot about the election, really, for the most part. And bang, Tuesday, it'll be here. I'm so excited. And to see what happens here in San Francisco. Woo! Looking forward, but no talking politics on the job with other black people, non-white people. If your attempted family is there, I don't care. You have nothing to say about the election. We made it this far. You can get through, another 5 days, because you need to wait for the results and all that. So nothing. Did you vote? I don't discuss politics in the workplace. What do you think about the results? I don't discuss politics in the workplace. Your brother can walk by. Did you, black brother? Did you and Ma go vote? No discussing politics in the workplace. And they should already know that this is your brother. You ought to know better. You're asking me no craziness here. My fault. We'll talk later. No discussing politics in the workplace. Period. 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 They have the TV on because they might. If they have the TV on, you have nothing to say. If they have the volume on, everybody been listening all day long. What do you think about that? Wild. What else you got to say? I don't know. And that would be a great time. What do you think about that? It's wild, isn't it? You can all day long, really all week long. They come. He won again. Did you think that was going to happen? You just hit black people, everybody. Your brother come by. Man, did you vote for that coon? I can't believe he won again. Did you get out there? I can't believe the sister, she got it. She's going to be the first one. You just use that until everybody gets tired of talking about it, and then we back to work. Let's see. Other folks dialed in, hand up, commentary to share. Proceed.
Yes, sir. Can I be heard?
Heard both of
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Caller in Florida.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners and callers. I'd like to share some reports, Gus, from the job. The white people mainly had the Halloween decorations up, and they even played some music. Like, of course, they played Thriller by Michael Jackson. And one white woman who wore the orange and green FAMU T-shirt wears this shirt with a purple shirt with some green, I guess, kind of angry eyes on it, and asked me, well, do you celebrate Halloween? And the only thing I can think of to say that was concise, I said, I don't see the reason to. And she replied and said, yeah, me too. And then she walks off. But yeah, at the same time, she's surrounded by these decorations and these gnomes and these bats and witch hats and things like that. And another one of the, two clique members, one wore a halo, a white halo and a white shirt and white boots and some jeans. And the other crony wore everything black. And they're the two managers. And another thing that happened was downstairs in the break room, there was a white woman, one who'd been there for 40 years, still instigating things. It was her and another white woman were talking. Then she texted a third younger white woman. She comes down to the room within like the next minute or two and tries to get them to come with her outside, you know? Like, yeah, you know, like, just let me borrow you for about 5 minutes. And pointed to the third white lady. Oh, well, she can come too. And clearly they know I'm sitting in there, so all three of them get up. And they even heated up their food and everything. So they still went and did some racist, unjust networking and came back about maybe 10 minutes later. And another thing that happened after that, they got a black guy who is in maintenance to try and move the vending machine, something that don't even have nothing to do with him. But this white woman actually tried to say, oh, try not to steal my dollar, and was laughing around about it. And then asked the guy would he be okay if she put his photo in the newsletter that we have come out every month? And he seemed to be okay with it. If I could just share two more. So there's a black male in the department where I'm at. Another victim, well, these are two victims kind of, unfortunately, trading insulting comments with each other. And he made the comment like, oh, well, do you have a problem? And laughing around. And she said, oh, well, you just need to go and get your hair cut and you need to shave your beard and all of that. So this Monday that just passed, he comes back in, and now this time the racist suspect is in there. So the black female says to him, oh, well, look at you. You finally got a haircut. Now look at that. And now the white woman after that says, oh, yeah, you know, he finally looks like a person. And he responds and says, well, I look like a person every day. This racist says, oh, well, I don't know about that. So that was another one of the things I wrote down, because that's, I don't know, some kind of, you know, I think it was an act of racism. Like, if he isn't a person, then logically, what are you trying to call him? Like a animal or something? I don't know. And then the last one that happened was the white woman, C.O.W.S coordinator. I was told, walked up with another white woman from administration and was trying to get photographs of people in their costumes. I think that was yesterday. And she's going to say to a black employee who's been there for over a year, she asked her, oh, what is your name again? So I was talking to this victim on the phone about it, and I just said I immediately called that an act of racism, white supremacy, because the white female who started in the department not even too far away from her, she remembered her name, and she only been there 3 months, but black female been there over a year. So she's going to say that to her, oh, what is your name? What was your name again? So those are the reports I'd like to share right now, and thanks for allowing me to speak.
Much obliged. Caller at the courthouse in Florida. Man, I love that one. I love that one. I thought, for a moment, he was going to say this was the black female that's been there for 2 decades. I'm like, what, Lakeisha, what's your name again, sweetie? That's it. There we go. Deidre, I was going to get it. That's right. But he said, it's the black female. She's been there for just 1 year. I said, yes. What's your name again? Yes, there we go. Look here, Kimberly. We appreciate you. We love you so much. You just been a dynamite job. Next time, if you stay here for 2 years, I guarantee you, I'm going to remember. We get here next year, I'm going to remember it for sure. No name tag, nothing like that. Remember time when they introduced the white man. He had been working there a long time, and they gave him a standing ovation and everything, and they were supposed to introduce the new black people, and they had a brand new black employee, and they forgot all about her. And he said, wait a minute, y'all, you forgot, we got Lisa over here, she's a brand new employee, and they gave, I think that was the warden too, and she looked at him like, yes, everyone, we want to welcome Lisa. We want to give her a... Niggas make me sick. Goodbye. Meeting over. They went on. Wait a minute. We supposed to... We had no enthused... Yes, they always forget the black people. Always forget the black people. Let's see. We got the Halloween costume. She came around and she said, what, you don't celebrate the Halloween? That's another one. Be brief. Be brief. I guess you could just say no. No. I don't see a reason. I like that too. And she even responded, well, yeah, that's probably true. But see, he said she got all the spider webs and witchcraft and devil worship, the paganism. What is all this? And we're at the courthouse. Why can't we just be professional, man? Like if we were at the bar or something, no problem. Even at the library, right? We get the children, because I mean, really, it's for the children, right? The children, they can go get some candy, get all the cavities and such. Really, it's for the children. We're at the courthouse. What is all this for? We got to spend time and decorate and all that. And you got to get, he even said they got people coordinated. He got one, I'm going to wear white and get me a halo. Ain't nothing angelic about what we hear about the courthouse. Nothing. And the other one, I'm going to be supposed to be the devil. I'm going to wear all black and, get me a little pitchfork and come in. What? You all had time to coordinate all this? We got serious problems that need to be addressed. Come on, man. We're wasting time on foolishness, really. And the other people coming around, they got to decorate the office. Somebody got to take that, probably janitorial staff. They got to come and take all these fake cobwebs and spiders and take all this nonsense down. Come on, man. Let's stop wasting time. Get some work done, man. And then he said the folks that came in dressed up the white and black, they come in and instigate, get it all the cronyism in the workplace. That's why we don't need no costumes. If you're just going to do all that, wear your normal clothes, come in and do, unjust networking and all the rest of it. He said they went and they got big, strapping, privileged black male. Hey, come here, Leroy. We need you to move the vending machine now. Get over there and take that up to the 6th floor. The elevator broke. You can have to take it upstairs, but you got it. Come on, big strapping Leroy. Get the snack machine. Yeah, wait a minute. Don't you steal my dollar out there, Leroy. I'm going to watch you. I'm keeping it real. Well, don't you take my dollar. Okay, we watching. The vending. He said, I don't think that's Leroy's job to move the vending machine. I should hope not. Like, Jesus Christ, you can throw your back out, kill yourself. That was at the film festival. They had that specifically. I'll talk about that later. But I know that can't be his job to come in, because you're supposed to have serious equipment, man. Those things are really heavy. You can hurt yourself seriously. You got it, Leroy. Come on, you got it. Don't you steal that dollar. Privileged black male. Move the refrigerator. Come on. Then the elevator insults. He said the two victims going back and forth. And why don't you shave your head and comb your head? All that. Do not be entertainment for race soldiers on the job. We've heard about this for years. Like, that is a major reason. No name calling. That's why that's in the 10 stops. Not going to do this. We've heard a lot of this. Non-white people in the workplace just sit around and talk bad and ridicule somebody else classified as black. Like, that is the worst of the worst. The worst, especially these people wouldn't dare, I suspect, do this to other white people. You wouldn't dare see these people in the courthouse, much less going up to the judge, attorney, some of the clerks, the warden. Why don't you get a different head? You done came in here and wore that same suit for the last 2 weeks. What's wrong with you? Why don't you have some self-respect? Go home and put on some... Come on. But Leroy, another black person, come in there. Oh, I got all kinds of things. Why ain't you do that? And then they care. This goes on for so long. Like I said, we do all this in front of racists. They hop into it. I look like him. I thought he had some self-respect. Like, I look like a person every day. Right on. Now, you don't even have to say that. But right on. I love it. And race soldier, I wouldn't agree with that one. Really? It doesn't get any better than tacking. That is total, absolute white supremacy racism. So if I'm not a person, what do I look like? A non-human? An alien? An animal? Come on. And then probably get a whole lot of black. That's right, girl. That's right. You don't look like no human to me either. You don't look like no human today. That's right. That's right. That's your privileged black male, I thought. That's Leroy. He's supposed to be, I'm super bad. I'm tough. You blink your eye at me wrong, and I knock you out. I'm super Leroy. Black. And everybody talk bad about me all day long, all week long, because he said they started on Monday, and it just carried forward and added on. Come on, man. And at minimum, I do not think there should be any sort of insults in the workplace, because it always goes, once you start, right, you start with the insults today. Hey, that white woman who was insulting Leroy, she might be waiting on Monday to come back at the black female who started out bashing on Leroy too. It's not like she thinks you're not a nigger. Who's to say she doesn't come back Monday? Now we got rid of Leroy. Now I'm ready for you, Lakeisha, because you don't look like no person to me either. And then if you get offended about all that, they're gonna say, well, we were laughing at Leroy. Remember last week we said he didn't look like a person, and we heed and hawed, and it was so funny. I mean, you know, we just joke around in the. That's what they're gonna say. We just joke around in the workplace, you know. Do not engage in that sort of behavior. Even if they're insulting Leroy, you're not sitting there laughing about it. And I might even ask, is this appropriate for a professional work setting? I might have to ask more than once, because if I ask one time and they say, yeah, it is, and it's all that and blah, 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 and I continue to hear this, I might have to go check the manual to see, is this appropriate for the workplace? Do they have any sort of commentary about workplace decor and how you're supposed to speak about other employees? Because many workplaces, you're not supposed to be engaged in this sort of conduct. Toxic work environment, they call it. Certainly telling somebody they don't look like a person. What? How is that helpful for us being professional? Jesus. Much obliged, caller at the courthouse. Let's see. The Black African. Thank you for your patience, sir.
Thank you, sir. The college enrollment of black males at HBCUs. I recall when I was at an HBCU, that being labeled as black male privilege, because I guess it was communicated as if black males would have their pick of, I guess, the black females, like because of the ratio. And I think the ratio was really bad. It was like, I can't remember, something like 1 to 7 or something like that. So yeah, it was labeled as still as black male privilege. Because I guess that's the only thing that black males are interested in. I think there was a portion where I think we were discussing salaries, like salary ranges and them being advertised. I think the state where I'm at, I think it was legislated that every job posting has to have a salary range. And I remember when that was being put into law, I guess the white leadership at my company being very angry about that, because it, I guess the people that are at the company at the moment can realize the salary ranges that are being applied, and they can request increases. In fact, that's something that an associate of mine asked me if they could. I said, yeah, you should. Because you're the incumbent, you know a lot more. And if they're going to be paying, thousands of dollars more, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars more for somebody that's just about to join that company, then yeah, you should be able to. I guess I've been listening to the book club, and I think there's some things in the book club, that have been getting discussed recently about like the Congo and stuff like. And I think some of the things are like sort of remind me of South Africa and are like workplace and school related. I think a lot of people think that South Africa it was colonized, but they usually think Dutch and maybe English, but a lot of them were so-called French. Similar. And I think a lot of white South Africans, I think the lady that you interviewed was Mr. Deut. There's a lot of the Deuts a lot of Duplessis, LaRue, Dupree, names like that. And some of the things that were happening to the lady in the book at the school, I think there were questions about her being taken to the school and, well, not the school, sorry, the orphanage, or the so-called orphanage, and sort of like, why couldn't she just stay with her family and all kinds of things like that. And I think I recall when my family went back to South Africa, I guess when at the end of the so-called apartheid, we went back, and immediately we were put into what you might call like white schools, and a lot of black children were put into these schools. And I can recall like the school that I went to, it took a while for me to realize, but a lot of our teachers were white males, and a lot of them were former Army and intelligence officers of the apartheid government. But it was seen as a great opportunity for us, and so I'm not saying that that's the case for this lady, but I think like I'm wondering like, you know, like why, because even if her mother didn't go to get her family members, uncles, grandparents, but it could have been, and you know, it could have been seen as an opportunity, like, oh, but yeah, and some of these like the torture and whatnot, I guess, at these institutions, like didn't experience like the hunger, but yeah, the torture. I wouldn't call it torture. I mean deep, intense racism, like it's definitely, it's very intense. There was also a section in the book about, like, I think it was talking about domestic violence. And I think it's related to workplace racism, because I recall I talked with my dad and I think my grandmother about it. And they like my grandmother, I remember, because she informed me that her father used to, I guess, perform domestic violence on her mother. And I recall asking, like, what was going on? Like, you know, like, you don't seem angry about this. Like, what was going on? And she informed me that a lot of black males in the area where my grandfather was lost, like, their land was taken away from them. And so they had to go and work in the mines. And so you're away from your family for, like, long periods of time. And so she informed me that it was almost seen as, like, if you didn't do domestic violence on your female, you know, spouse, or then it was like as if you didn't love her. Like, it was like as if she said it honestly. She said, it was like, people would think, oh, why aren't you, like, you know, angry? Why aren't you jealous? Why aren't you all of these things? And I think it's a similar situation, I guess, on my father's side, where he said his father, also due to white supremacy racism, lost his job, and, like, everything changed. Like, a lot of alcoholism, that kind of domestic violence kind of thing. And I think that's related to the book and the Conqueror. I think black males, black families, you know, you have land, you're working the land, and then you just lose the land, maybe because they're going to put in a mine, a road, something, and now you have to become a laborer. I think I've heard, like, in the book, like, a lot of the males being referred to as boys. And I think I remember being in high school where I think it was the only time where I saw like a lot of black males, even though there was white supremacy racism occurring all the time, where they were like really upset. I remember, I think we were walking somewhere as like a group of students, and one of the white students, a white female, white woman, she saw, I guess, a laborer for her father, but it was an elderly man, like 65, let's just say, and black male, sorry. She called out his name, I don't know, like a white name, like Johannes or something like that. Johannes. And so one of the white male students asked her, like, who is that? Like, why are you greeting? And then she said, she said it in the Afrikaner language, something like, "Das my basa boy," like that's my father's boy. And like a few of the black males lost it, like, oh man, like what is she? And some of them had to be held back, like, but yeah, like I remember like growing up that black males being referred to that work, and it's like a common thing being referred to as like a garden boy. Like if they work in the garden, no matter what age, I just remember the term being that's the garden boy. But I think the one difference in the book, but I've been to Haiti before, and I saw this in Haiti. Like a lot of times, black males in South Africa do not do domestic work, but I did see it when I was in Haiti, and I think the term was like, I think I would hear the term garçon, yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I had to share today. Thank you.
Much obliged, the Black African. Now again, that was why I endured the hell of Los Angeles for 8 days, primarily. Really, yeah, the only soundtrack to Coup d'etat had not been at that film festival. I don't think there's any way I would have went to Los Angeles, because I would not have even known about the festival, so I would not have been in LA. But that's why I went to LA, soundtrack to a coup d'etat, and they have big, chunky scenes about those mines and stuffing black people into those mines to, we got to get these iPhones. I told you, man, we got 5-year-olds waiting to get these down there, man. Get it, man. Or we got bombs to drop. Get that uranium, man. Get to it. South Africa, Congo, same thing. But that's right in the middle of literally soundtrack to a coup d'etat. Talked about that at the Q&A. That's what we were doing this time. Oh my God. So this time last week, I'm going to tell you how concentrated my LA experience was. Because I thought I was just going to see soundtrack to a coup d'etat. Stupid me. So this time, last Friday, the two films I was most excited to see, The Order, played at 6 p.m. last Friday. That's what I was doing this time last Friday, and that was a spectacular film. Wow. What is that film about? Oh, I was so homesick. That film is about Washington State history. A white supremacist gang uses Dr. William Pierce's The Turner Diaries to rob banks, bomb, kill, practice white supremacy racism, and they even visit Ukiah, California. Ukiah, as in Mendocino County. They go to Ukiah to do a bank robbery. That film played at 6 p.m. last Friday. Soundtrack to a coup d'etat played at 8 p.m. The filmmakers were at both films. Soundtrack to a coup d'etat played at 8:15 p.m. The Order ended at 8 p.m. on the dot. I had a 15-minute gap between the films. I didn't even get to hear the Q&A with the filmmakers for The Order because I had to run to get my seat at Soundtrack to Coup d'etat. That is how concentrated my LA experience was. The order. Everybody was talking about that film from the time I got on the plane. I didn't even know. I can't believe. That's why you go to the film festivals. Anyway, the minds. They got whole books about that. All of that. First time, last time, because we did talk about domestic abuse yesterday, Neely Fuller Jr. First time, last time. No justification. They didn't have Mr. Fuller's work to lean on. We learn better. We do better. First time, last time. Not going to take out our frustration because of white people on no black female. That is absurd and cowardly. We do better. We do better. First time, last time. We said lots of the boy. I pointed that out because that is ubiquitous in the text. We read the entire first portion of Andre Bloom's My Country, Africa, first portion of her autobiography, and boy is in there so frequently, where a white woman has her boys sick the dogs on her when she gets uppity about the price of a dress she made for a white woman. We just hear it over and over, and because she has it in quotes, I pointed that out. I said, I suspect some of these folks are probably like 50, 60, 70, who are there to cook or do the landscaping or whatever, painting, whatever they, tending to racist needs. But the boy, that's just what they're called. That's my boy. Same way he said the language when the young people, they got upset when she said it in Afrikaans. However you say it, but that's my father's boy. That's my nigger. See, they say that possessive adjective. See there? I say, you don't even say that's my computer because it's not. But they comfortably, that's my nigger. That's my boy. That's my gal. You get away from my gal. Get away from my nigger. You don't touch my nigger. That's my boy. These are my boys. Boys and gals. That's what Dr. Welsing said. Boys and gals. That's us. System of white supremacy. You got the man, the order, and then you got the boys and gals. Said they got upset about that. Like, man, you don't call him my father's boy. That's what we are. That's what we are. I don't know if I'd fight over that, because they will for sure get more armed white men to put you down. They love to do that sort of thing and take pictures and brag about all that. South Africa pops up in the Congo book a number of times. It popped up, I think, this past week, where they said that's where they got the oranges from, if I'm not mistaken, because that was like a special item in the Congo. It was either oranges. I think it was the oranges. That's where they got the oranges from, and got those from South Africa. And they had some, I guess, scruples about whether or not they wanted to get them from there because of apartheid and all that. And lots of white people, French white people, British white people, Dutch white people, German white people, white people, did some terrorizing throughout the continent, Cairo to Cape Town. Catherine Massey Book Club, Andre Bloom's My Country, Africa. We are halfway through the book, and it has been amazing, and we haven't even got to the good parts of the book yet. Or I shan't say the good parts, but the climax of the book and the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. Super important. We haven't got to any of that yet. So much more to come. That is the portion that they read in Soundtrack to Coup d'etat. And again, that's what I was in LA for last week. We were talking about that was simultaneous with Game 1 of the World Series in LA, and Bron James, home game. He had a triple-double, and oh my God, Carmageddon. There were LA natives who were saying last week, like, oh my God, Brother Gus, I tried to go home, and ooh. I was thinking, now all I could say was, man, I don't even live here. I'm trying to just get to the hotel, and I'm thinking, ooh, is this what it's like every day? Or is this like, oh my God. Woo. Never going back. I'm so glad I survived Los Angeles. Easily could have been to live and die in L.A. You just shaved the first part of to die in L.A. At least the Dodgers won. I don't even watch baseball, man. I don't even watch baseball. Whew. Anyway, let's see. Man, I think I covered most of it. Boom, 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 boom. He said the white men were upset. This is the Black African. He said the white people on his job were upset when they were going to publicize the salaries. Why would that be, man? And we ain't doing nothing wrong. Everybody earned their salary. That's what they say. We got meritocracy. Why would anybody be upset about salaries being publicized? What's the big deal? They'd have to break that one down to me. Are we doing something? It's some nepotism going on here? Cronyism? People getting something that they're not supposed to be getting? What's going on? See, that right there. And I've heard that, and they talked about some of those pay gap disparities. They've said some of this would be solved immediately just if they publicize the salary so that people know, like, whoa, what? Paul is getting, what? Whoa. And problem solved. They said they would expect that to happen. Now, funny, they said they think with females, that wouldn't even be needed. Just talking about all that, bing, problem solved. They said the real problem, privileged non-white males. We really don't. We even heard that. I think that was non-Clemson dad. He said they found out that, whoa, the white woman, she'd make about $900 more than the black dude. Like, wait a minute, what? Wait a minute, whoa, how was that? Lots of that. They said it'd be a lot more difficult to address that pay disparity in terms of non-white males, even if we publicize. Real resistant to paying Leroy. Imagine that. In privileged black male, we don't want to pay Leroy. Well, any hoodles, I believe we should be here tomorrow, compensatory call-in, unless something really wacky happens in San Francisco. But I think we will be here. I mean, they have Wi-Fi at the hotel, so at minimum I could broadcast there. I just want to broadcast outside because it's like what I said. Dang, Coit Tower is right there. Photo shot, bang. Ferris wheel, Bay Bridge, right there. Bang, Photoshop. Move down one block, Golden Gate Bridge, Photoshop. And the pier, the bay. WTA, and it's 60 degrees, man. I'm accustomed to being in Seattle. I would have my winter gloves on. I would probably not be comfortably sitting outside. It is lovely weather. Stunning. That's 2 weeks in a row that I've said that for the weekend, because last Saturday, I literally, because I had been griping and complaining about being in LA. It's like, oh, it's so dirty and the smog and crowded in the World Series, all of that. And then Saturday came, and I was sitting outside. It was 70 degrees. That was when the weather started to dip. It had been like 80 and like kind of hot most of the time. But Saturday, the weather broke. It was 70 degrees, sunny day. Beautiful. I was sitting outside. It was about 1 in the afternoon. I was going to see, I'm so ignorant. I told you, the only reason that I was going to all of this was to see Soundtrack to Coup d'Etat, but I got a press pass so I can see all the films. So I say, oh, okay, I'll go see Unstoppable. I don't even know what that's about. I have no idea. Black guy that's working there, Moses, my black brother, Moses says, hey, what's up, Gus T? And that's what I have on my press pass. He said, what's up, Gus T? He said, what's up, Moses? Kicking it, blah, blah, blah. He said, what movie are you going to see? I said, I'm going to see Unstoppable. He says, really? Unstoppable? That's the one with Anthony Robles. And I said, what? Who was that? I don't know what. Because, I mean, literally, I'm here for Soundtrack to Coup d'Etat. The rest of this stuff, like, oh, yeah, that's gravy, right? Metaphor. He said, that's the one about Anthony Robles. Oh, my God, man. He went to Arizona State, man. He was a total legend in the wrestling. Matter of fact, Jennifer Lopez is going to be there, man. I said, what? He said, yeah, man, Jennifer Lopez, she's going to be there for the Q&A, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, y'all not tricking me, man. Like, whatever. We'll see about this Anthony Robles character, whatever. So I go look and, yep, Jennifer Lopez was there for the Q&A, as was Anthony Robles, who is amazing, as was his mother. And, I mean, just Jesus Christ, man. We were in Hollywood. The whole film was playing there, basically. And the movie was amazing. Unstoppable. It was amazing. Anyway. But that was just the first chunk of Saturday. And Game 2 of the World Series was on Saturday. So all of this happened the same day, too. But, man, plus I saw like 3 other great films that day. Man, I think that day I did actually say, yeah, I guess it's not that bad. And then I looked at the weather. That was the kicker. I looked at the weather for Seattle, and it was 50 degrees and rainy. And I said, maybe I should stop complaining about being in L.A. I should just go get me a glass of wine and go kick it with J-Lo. Let's do that. We'll go kick it with J-Lo, and we'll complain about L.A. once we get to Sunday. There we go. And then the threat of the riot happened, and that changed everything. But at least for that brief moment on Saturday, it was not too bad being in L.A., except for the traffic. All things considered, we will be here tomorrow, compensatory call-in, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, as long as San Francisco cooperates. Pay attention to, I cannot say that enough, like, oh my God, I really could have died if I had gone to LA. I don't watch baseball, but man, if I had gone to LA and not really been cognizant, like, the World Series is happening, and that could have a substantial impact on everything about this trip. Jesus Christ, I could not have underestimated more like the threat to my life and safelyhood of the World Series being in LA during the trip. But I mean, I don't know how you can plan for that anyway, take your safety on business travel seriously. Sobriety would be best. Like, oh my God, imagine getting caught in a riot in LA and you're drunk, you had too many shots at the bar up in Hollywood, and come on. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people, victims of white supremacy. We ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. No name calling other black people. No name calling other black people. No name calling victims of white supremacy. Cows signing out. Thanks all for tuning in. First time, last time.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. No problem. You're a victim. I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.